I should unmute myself, shouldn't I? Welcome everybody to the Christmas edition of the Call-In Show. I double messed up the intro. First, I while the intro roll was going, it started over the video. I'm like, screw it. And then I was muted. Oh my gosh. Anyway, people, thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the Toon Show, the MC Toon Show, MC Toon Live Show. I am your host, MC Toon. This is the Call-In Show. And so if you are interested in coming to talk to me and joining, I might have a bit of a panel, but certainly I'll have, at first I'll have 3 to 5 minutes for people to join and chat a little bit. If you'd like to be on camera, that's best. If you don't, that's fine. I use Zoom. I will put a Zoom link in the chat in a little bit and you can come in. So if you haven't yet installed Zoom, go ahead and install Zoom and test it out. Make sure your microphone and camera are working so you don't have to do it live. You can, there's a test thing that you can do. So anyway, thank you for joining. Now I want to announce that next week I will not be doing a live stream on Tuesday. We've got family stuff going on Monday and Tuesday. Monday is Christmas Day. Tuesday is day after, I think. But we've got stuff going both those days. So Wednesday will be my between Christmas and New Year's 12-hour marathon in 6 parts. At least that's the plan right now. I don't have everything planned out, but I have several of them. I will begin with a Mind of Steel chat with with Raynard Wilson and some of the other guys in the group that I have been working with for several years on debunking Mark Steele and his nonsense. That will be at 4 o'clock Central Time, 10 p.m. UK time. They're all in the UK except for me. And then at 6 p.m. Central will probably be some sort of a debunker show. So bring debunkers on. So if you are on YouTube, you make videos, you consider yourself a flat earth debunker, or you address flat earth stuff, you are invited to come join for that that second hour. I know you may be in a time zone that's inconvenient, so I'm putting it a little bit earlier. 5 minutes. And then so like Oli Dehassenpfeffer, that's not the right name. I know I said it wrong. Oli, I people like Oli, I'd like to come on. Anyway, if you do videos, you got stuff, I'd like you to come on and chat. So I have it at a time that hopefully it's midnight in the UK. It's later than that east of the UK. I can't change that. Can't fix time zones. If only the earth were flat, then the sun would never set, and we'd probably have a whole different conception of time zones, wouldn't it? Then I will be talking to somebody on the fence who's got a bunch of questions. So I'm going to be going over questions with that person, followed by going to a Discord server, hopefully getting a boatload of drunk flirs. Then I've got, let's see, what else do I have? That's 4. Oh yeah, I've only need 6. I'm gonna have PhD Tony's gonna come on, and he's gonna do his science talk for it. So that will go on the podcast eventually when I get enough episodes to do season 2. Followed by finally the 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Not totally set yet, but I asked the Australian debunkers. They put me. I'm in a group with them, right? They're all Australian, except for me. And so when do they talk? They talk when I'm asleep. So I wake up in the morning and there's a whole bunch of notifications. I'm like, I got to turn off notifications on that one. Anyway, I'm like, hey, who wants to do a trivia thing? So I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm talking to them. So I'm hoping that maybe it can be myself versus somebody else in a trivia thing. Guaranteed they're going to win. I'd bet on them. So That's the plan. 12 hours, 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. Central Time. I work the day of and the day after. So there you go. I'm doing that for you. Make it worth your while. Make it worth my while. Make it worth everybody's while so that it's fun. We have a good time. I like the week before Christmas and New Year's because it's so laid back. And like there's tons of family stuff and friend stuff, but at work it's like, don't touch anything. Don't change anything. Hands off, people. So, all right, that's the plan for that day. I hope that that you come along, and I don't know. Last year there were some people that were there for the whole thing. Maybe we can even better track who is at the entire thing. So, all right, I'm gonna grab the grab this. If you're interested in coming on for a little bit, I would ask that you don't be a jerk. But here anyway. So yeah, and what I will do, I'll do one at a time, and I'll do 3 minutes, right? And then maybe at the end we'll do a panel if we have time. So you see right up there, this thing right here. So that is controlled by a remote control adapter from Woods. It happens that one of the 5G nuttery things was that somebody has a snake oil deal that they're selling a thing that's supposed to protect you from stuff, but it's just a wireless remote. That's all it is. So I bought a wireless remote that's the same brand. Anyway, look at that. There it is. That's my lava lamp right there. Lava lamp. Okay. Anyway, oh, we got Round Thinkers in the house too. Love Round Thinker. He's awesome. So if you've got, oh, my nostril lasers, it's down on the ground there. It's kind of buried under stuff. So, hey, Mr. E-Man, thank you very much for those 20 live memberships you just gifted. That was very kind of you. So, okay, here comes the, that's not it. Here comes the invitation, copy invite link. There it is. Boom. There's the link. Yeah, and if you don't want to be on screen, that's fine. You don't have to. So, but if you can get your camera working, you want to be on screen, that makes it more interesting. So, all right. Who did the version of O Come, O Come Emmanuel you've been playing at the end of your streams? That is by a band called Theocracy. So, all right. It's not letting me pin my own comment. I don't know why. That's weird. All right, well, there it is. You can join with that link. Oh yeah, and I've got, you know what? I should probably a little bit of this here. But I've got it going there. This is my Wisconsin mug. So this is the kind of mug I love. I want to find somebody that can make this kind of mug. You know, it's a campfire mug, but it's got a thick wall. I don't know if you really can see how thick that is because it's got a black rim, but it's maybe this will help. If somebody can find the manufacturer, you see that? You see how thick that wall is? That's what I like. Because it absorbs the heat. Because I don't like hot coffee, so I'll put it in when it's cold, and it'll cool the coffee down. But then it stays warm. See how nice it is? Anyway, got to get me some ice in there because I'm so classy that I have Bailey's on the rocks. All right, I don't see anybody in the waiting room just yet. There we go. Now I know Leslie Rohr, not Leslie, Flurf Santa has prepared himself, did a photo shoot with this Santa hat on. So there we go. Let's see. The other Caleb says, I'm super new to this stuff, but contra people like Witsit Don't the phases of Venus give much higher credence to a heliocentric solar system? I learned that in Astro 1030. Wow. So, yes. And I will here we go. We got Eric Burns coming in. Yeah, that the phase of all right. Hello, Eric Burns. I'll let you talk. Question
Oh,
is,
okay.
does the phase of Venus give much higher credence to a heliocentric solar system?
Yes, absolutely. Because with it being closer and with it being that we can actually see part of the darker side of it than the lighter side, that means that it's going to be closer in, and so that means that it's orbiting, and then we're orbiting farther away.
Well, the fact that it
And
has phases at all
yeah, exactly.
is something quite, yeah, and you can get them. You can actually photograph the phase of
Hmm.
Venus with a P1000 if you only know how to turn the focus ring, which flat earthers do not know how to do.
Yeah. Well, and then you can do the same with Mercury as well, but then all the other planets you cannot because they're further away. But
Yeah, they're outside of our orbit, so
mhm.
we generally will see. I suppose though, if a planet is 90 degrees to us, we're gonna see a bit of a phase, wouldn't we?
Uh,
Or no, it's just too far
no.
away.
Yeah, no, because
Yeah.
it's just because it's far away, further away, we're always gonna see the fully bright side of it.
Yep. All right.
But yeah, so one thing I had written wrong in that last message to you, I was trying to say someone else was wearing a Slayer t-shirt and giving a talk, not me.
I saw you correct that. But I did like the idea of you wearing the Slayer t-shirt. So
Yeah,
so
no, and
people so people don't so people might not know. Eric is a
a
astronomy
grad student,
grad student at
FIU,
Florida.
Florida
Well,
International.
FIU too.
Florida No,
What the
that'd
hell?
be
What did I say to you that you?
that would be if Florida University was and that would be if it's UF if it was FU instead. This is FIU,
What's the I stand for?
international.
But Florida's in the same country as the United States. It's not really
It,
international. Who named
I
that?
mean, I don't know, but there's a lot of international students here. So
Well, you get that at any university, really, don't you?
yeah, but it seems like it's more than normal here.
Um,
But uh but
what's
yeah, it
the
was
name? What's the name of the ultimate frisbee team there?
I assume we don't have one because we barely even have a football team here. So we don't have sports.
Find out.
I
So
would
see,
assume it would be the FIU Panthers, just like normal.
well,
Uh,
actually, rarely is the mascot for the actual school the same as the ultimate frisbee mascot.
oh, really?
Very rarely, yep. And even at university. So yeah, the U of M, they're the Gophers. University of Minnesota is the Gophers.
Mhm.
The ultimate frisbee team is the Gray Ducks.
That makes no sense at all.
Well, the Gray Ducks make sense because in Minnesota we don't say duck duck goose, we say duck duck gray duck. You know
Are
that?
there no geese? Are there no geese to say goose for you guys?
No, they're just gray ducks. They're not geese.
God, sorry, my cat is trying to bite my foot right now.
Let it.
And
For the
and play
sake of art, you
for
must
the
allow it.
sake of art and the sake of all my cables for my computer.
Yes. And then you
But
can make a Our dog keeps chewing on the vacuum cleaner power cord.
oh yeah, she has started chewing on my headset, and she hasn't done that since like I first got her, and I'm wondering why she's doing it again now, and it's very annoying.
She's jealous.
She's jealous that I'm home for the break and not paying attention to her 24/7.
Oh, all right. Um, all right. So what's new? You got another minute and a half,
All right. Well,
and then albino bad guys next. Albino bad guys next.
Not a whole lot. Just yeah, I thought it was funny that I accidentally put that I was wearing a Slayer t-shirt. But it was actually funny for that conference. That was like the smartest guy there was the one giving the talk in that. Because
Of
this was like
course.
an yeah. But it was just like it was the first conference I went to. I was thinking it was going to be formal, and my advisor was like, "No, astronomers are not formal at all."
Oh, we've speaking of cats. All right. We've got another cat in swaddling cloth that's less interested in this whole affair.
Let me see if I can pick up my cat.
He's so cranky. Here, look at the camera. There you go. Good kitty.
Oh, here we go. Here's my
All right.
cat.
What do you think? You
She
see
is
the
not
kitty?
happy with me.
You see the kitty? All right. Thank you. He complains a lot. Oh, all right. One more. Come here, pup. Come here, pup. Oh, ran away. Ran away. Oh no, we've got her. We've got her. All right.
Yes, my cat does not like being picked up, and she wants to play right now, so it's not a good combination.
There you go. There's Penguin.
Hello, Penguin.
There you go. Good puppy. All right. All right.
But that's
Somebody
about
said-
it for me.
Somebody said, isn't Brian May of Queen an astrophysicist or something? No, Brian May was the guy that hosted Top Gear and went up in that plane. People don't know people.
Oh, and one
Oh.
last thing. For the like movement of stars across the sky and everything, one star to look up for that is Barnard star, which
Yeah.
is the one that moves, the fastest across the
Its
sky.
proper motion is very high. All right. Well, thank you for joining, Eric. I'm going to bring in Albino Bad Guy.
All
And
right.
after Albino is C.V. McCullough, then Flurf Santa.
All right. See ya.
All right, we'll see you later. All right, Albino. There's no audio yet. Make sure you test, people. Make sure you test. Because then you can be sure that it's gonna work ahead of time. So nothing yet from Albino. We've got it's Mystery Man gifted those memberships. And yes, I do know it's not it's not Brian May. It's James May. I know. Who is your show pet bringer? That would be my kid. My daughter brings one of the 33 total, of course. Brings in the cats and the dog. So, all right, Albino, anything? Still no audio from Albino Bad Guy. So did Leslie's ask? Yes, Leslie, I did get. I see. I mean, I see the people in the queue, and I'm bringing one in at a time. Tell you what, Albino, I will. You figure it out. I'm gonna bring in C.V. McCullough, then not Leslie, Flurf Santa. So all right, C.V. McCullough is coming in, and Albino. I'll put you in the. Well, when you get it working, just come on in. And C.V. McCullough's in the same boat. Test your audio. There's like a test audio, and it'll make a ring sound, and you can hear it, and then you can test your microphone. You can talk and see if it does it. So, it worked on Discord. Can skip me. All right. Well, tell you what, I'll put you in the waiting room. Oh, Albino, you're there. All right, C.V. McCullough, work on your audio. Albino, your microphone showed up. Albino is not a Flurf. Baba Ali, I have 33 kids, 17 boys and 17 girls. 11 sets of triplets. No, still nothing from Albino. All right. Well, we're jumping up to Flurf Santa. Flurf Santa's coming in. Not actually a Flurf. Um, well, maybe not. We got technical challenges all around. Oh, there we go. All right. Flurf Santa, you you need to move your camera a little bit. You gotta apparently, according to JM Truth, you gotta pan your camera so that we can see you, because all we see is your mouth and up. So we need to see, so tip the camera down. Tip it down. Tip it. There you go. All right, people, I'm happy to introduce you to the one, the only, Flurf Santa. Good day, Flurf Santa. How are you?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's my season. It's my season. I'm fixing to deliver, presents to all the boys and girls across the flat earth. I mean, especially those that are, 12 or 13. I did get that, that restriction lifted. I can now talk to young kids. But I was listening to you. I was listening to your little show there with Vlad, and I mean, Vlad was obviously so dead on. I mean, his intuition. Obviously, that's the only way. I mean, forget about science. The only way to know anything is to intuit it.
Yes.
that
You
things
have to
can't
feel.
go that fast. Yeah, that's right.
Just feel.
So how you doing?
I'm good. People are asking for a ho ho ho.
Oh, I do that once in a while.
All right. I'm good. I sometime after Christmas, the video that will include this will be made. I've done the measurements. I know the results.
Measurements?
Mm.
What are measurements?
Something flat earthers hate to do.
Oh, yes. We don't know how.
Yes. How come that's not yellow?
This?
Yeah.
It's teeth.
Yeah, but it should be yellow. Flurfs drink yellow liquids.
Oh, not me. Not me.
What? What kind of Flurf Santa are you?
I know. I'm falling down on the job. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a good question. Where is Industrial Nerd? I don't know where he is. I'll just right here. That shirt right there for him. I got it to wear for him, but he's not even here. So, Flurf Santa. Vlad wanted to know what travels 1,000,000 miles an hour. Can you answer?
Well, me whenever I'm being chased by the FBI, but that wouldn't. Never mind.
Never mind that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Caitlin is
that's
on
kind of
deck.
that's kind of yeah.
Caitlin is on deck.
Somebody told me that muons here at the surface of the Earth travel actually faster than that, but I don't believe it. Of course, that's all globe nonsense.
I liked how when I debated Alan from Space Audits, the muons that are measured, there's more muons at high elevation than at low elevation. He's like, well, how do we know that they're from space? Well, because there's more of them at high elevation than low elevation. Well, how do you know that? Because there's more of them at high elevation than low elevation. He didn't get that. It was a desperate denial.
It's really hard for me to stay in character.
What
when you
character?
say things like that.
Yeah. In the debate, not the debate, the poll where you were conflicted, because even though I thought that the poll covered the entire breadth of the opinions on whether you're a theist, an agnostic, or an atheist, you said you were none of those. I don't know how that doesn't cover the whole gamut. So how does that not cover the whole gamut?
That wasn't me. That was my friend Les Rohr.
Oh, yes. Could you answer on his behalf?
Yeah, I'll answer for him. Yeah, well, Well, he doesn't believe in labels, basically.
Oh,
So
so he's a non-labeler person,
yeah.
which is a label.
I like labels. I like labels.
Which
I'm a
is a
flirt.
label.
Yeah.
It is a label.
Yeah.
You ever heard somebody in a band and you're like, "Oh, what's your style?" They're like, "Oh, we're not like anybody else. We're our own unique style." Like, "Oh, I've heard that style. I don't like it."
I guess that's me, except I suck at music. Don't tell my wife. I told her I was a you know
A musician?
yeah, I told her that I was a grandmaster pianist. She still thinks I am.
Right. And she's never seen you play?
Mm-mm. Won't let her get near the piano.
Yeah. Okay. Can you do anything on a piano?
I can sit on it. I can repose on a grand piano, in a sexy outfit.
Do not draw that mental picture, please.
Already done.
All right. There's just in time for the 5 minutes to be up. Now how is it that you're so I'll give you one question. Now you may be familiar that my ugly identical cousin McFlatty thought that he proved that the earth is flat because
No, I'm well. Yeah.
because he said he says that Rudolph didn't have to dip his nose while flying around the earth to deliver packages. Is this the case?
That's right. Of course, you know why Rudolph's nose is red. He likes his scotch a little bit too much. And that's why he's got the red nose. But be that and so he's a terrible navigator as well. But yeah, he never dips his nose at all.
All right. Well, thank you for joining Flurf Santa. I'll let you see yourself out. We've got Caitlin.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Caitlin is joining, and on deck is RT. RT is on deck.
Awesome. I have a guest here who decided to show up right when you got me on Zoom here. Her name is Astrocat.
Astrocat. That's is he or she all gray?
All gray, completely gray, domestic short hair, feral cat, and she's just always with me. So
nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to tell you that was a great session you had tonight, and I am just thrilled that you got to talk to that flat earther who was denying the Apollo missions and all that stuff. That was an amazing work you did.
Thanks. I don't often get into Apollo stuff, right? That's kind of it goes hand in hand with flat earth denial, but they usually just say nuh-uh. So we don't usually get into it much. I do like it when they bring up the stuff from Bart Sibrel, who's the main Apollo denier guy, because he says, if you watch the video that they like to play, that video says that they were in low Earth orbit. That's what they're trying to say.
Right.
Not that they were not orbiting the Earth, and nothing at all compatible with flat Earth.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely silly. And so one of the reasons how I found you and I found out about flat Earth is that a few years ago I was actually working at NASA doing cybersecurity. And so part of my job was making sure the public doesn't get access to hidden documents. And then I found out that there was this entire conspiracy theory, all about the work I did. I was like, this is amazing. And then, it's been fantastic. And I've caught your show a few times. It's been really fun to watch you, go after those people.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
So there's a guy, David Beverly, who's a flat earther, claims to have worked been an engineer. He says an engineer at NASA. To my knowledge, he was he worked on this computer networks. So he would have been a network engineer, not the kind of engineer that the word engineer at NASA builds in your head, right? Because engineer at NASA means, he worked on rockets.
Right. Yeah. So I was the same way. I worked on computer stuff. I did work on computer systems that did go into space. But I wouldn't call myself a NASA engineer, because that does imply that you are working on rockets and you're doing that kind of stuff, and you don't want to, give people the wrong impression.
Yeah. Well, I may be debating him next month
Ooh.
on somebody else's channel. So,
Do you
but
know
I'll
what?
answer him here.
Yeah, do you know where he worked? Because there's a bunch of different centers. Like there's Ames and there's Kennedy.
He, I don't know. I watched a little bit of, he has a channel. I watched a little bit of his stuff where he talked about it. I think he was actually not even an employee. He was a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if, is it common for that to just be contractors for that?
Yeah, so NASA gets a lot of contractors to come in. In fact, I was a contractor myself.
Okay.
And so you're either a civil servant or a contractor. In a lot of organizations, it really doesn't matter, right? Like you're all on the same team.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
sit in the same office next to them.
exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The difference between a civil servant and a contractor is the civil servant will make more money in the long run or have a more stable job. They essentially cannot be fired, but a contractor will make more money in the short term, but they can be sort of let go at any time. And a lot of people transfer from being a contractor to a civil servant over time.
Okay. So get employed. Well, yeah, and I've seen that where we've even done that where we'll bring somebody in on a contract and then hire them.
Yep.
And of course, we do it in software because you don't know if they're any good.
Right.
And so you bring them in, say, oh, well, you'll be here for 3 months. And then at the end of 3 months, we're like, we like you. You get to stay. And those other 2 people there are going to go.
Exactly.
And the expectation is, they're not sad. They're not hurt because you're firing them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so one of the projects that I worked on was actually a robot called Viper, and Viper is going to the moon.
Okay.
And so I'm very familiar with the sort of the translunar injection and Hohmann transfers and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so I was Astrocate. I was the one who did the math for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so anything sort of, yes, thank you. So anything sort of lunar based, I'm fairly familiar with doing the math for that. But yeah, there's a lot of math involved in doing sort of rocket calculations, but it's never goes further than differential equations.
Yeah.
And usually it's as simple as F equals ma. Like it's not as difficult. I fully believe that if a FLIRF could apply themselves, they could do these equations.
They can't do simple algebra. Did you hear Vlad? He said as soon as there were letters in math, he was out.
Really?
He can't do 7th grade algebra.
Oh my gosh, that's not good.
Right? That if they can't do math with letters, that means they can't solve for m in F equals ma.
That is true.
Think about that. They can't solve for m.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wonder how much of FLIRFdom comes from not being able to do math, because a lot of the way that we view the world is not through like doing precise calculations, but we sort of have a mental model that sort of approximate math. Like at least for me, like I'm always thinking, oh, this is going to be greater than 0, or like flat Earth sun would never set, right? Like I know that because I know that if the sun would have to be infinitely far away for it to be 0 degrees, to my eye line, right?
Yeah.
But being unable to do that sort of level of math, I mean, that would, I could see why that would.
So we think of it in the actual, like the numbers. They can't even picture the 3-dimensional model of where the sun would need to be for you in North America to set. They can't even picture that in their head. Like, oh, it's so far away it sets. They'll bring up the picture of the street lights, and as they go farther away, they move closer to the ground. Completely misunderstanding that doesn't help them. Because nowhere in that picture do any of those street lights get half obstructed by the street.
Yeah, no, the quick calculation for doing perspective is if you assume z is positive, that way, you divide x and y by z. And of course, that's never going to go below 0. So
You passed them. They can't do that.
yes.
It's way over there. All right. Well, what Astro Kate?
Sure, why not? Let's go.
glad you stopped by. If you, all right, I would like to do. I missed some important detail in this. If you could, I'd love it to get a little correction on that. If you have it, otherwise I'll look it up. But
Sure.
on what it would take in a basic level, right? Just no differential equations.
Okay.
There's no hope for a flat earther to do it. I mean, it's hopeful to think they could do a little bit of algebra. I think it's a bit optimistic, but certainly no differential equations. So
yeah. So my go-to thing for doing equations that I have to do for work is a Python library called what's it called? It's a Python library. Anyway,
math.
it's really good.
I
That's
use
good. That's
the one
good.
called math.
Starfield. That's the
Okay.
Python library. It is fantastic. It'll get you, the angle from your house to, to Betelgeuse at any moment, and you can throw in the TLEs of any satellite and get their position. Fantastic. It's going to go over Fliff's head for sure if what you're telling me is true. So, yeah, no, we can do some basic stuff like, how do you and just keep it to Newton's equations, right? Because that's really all you need when it comes down to it. And we can absolutely do that together.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I've got CV McCullough raised his or her hand. So thanks for stopping by. Kate, CV McCullough, are you able to talk? Yeah, Kate, you can let you get yourself out on your own there. All right.
You there?
I am.
All right. So I am just a simple, I don't have a degree. It's hard for me to follow that.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
But I will say that I can see every day, while all these people that are flat earthers, they say, well, all I see is level.
Yeah.
I can see the track of the sun change from spring to fall. And I know that. I know that certain tracks from where I'm at on my place in the world, that this is the way the sun works. I mean, I don't understand. Like the guy that you had before you, and he even was talking about, well, we have to have a creator. We have to have, well, we don't really have to have anything to say that we were nothing and now we are. Now, I was raised Christian, but I'm mainly deist, which would, I don't have to explain that to you.
Yeah, I think people know.
The problem that I have is there are so many things that you could say that prove that we're not a flat earth moving up. It doesn't matter what model that you try to find. There is no model.
Yeah.
As a flat earther, your whole job, your whole existence is to poke holes in globe.
Yeah, that's the only thing they try to do.
Well, the thing that and this is what I ask all of them, and I have been doing this for a couple of years. Even my wife gets upset with me. She's like, "Are you still dealing with those people who think the Earth is flat?" Just give me just a minute.
I have a coworker that's the same. He's like, "What are you doing? It's obviously not flat. They're just dumb." I'm like, it's kind of fun.
Well, it's not about the fun. It's that there are so many people. I mean, like when I look and I think that there's, even if it's only 2,000 people in the world, I feel like maybe we should help them.
Yeah.
but it's always the same shit. And I'm sorry, I said a bad word right there, and I
Don't.
apologize.
That's all right.
But I always go back to, all right, well, give me a model, show me a map, and I have people say, well, what's the map? What do you mean a map? Well, like, what is a map going to do? No, I want you to go and show me what the map of the world should be on your flat Earth.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for a model. I'm not asking for you to tell me, like physics of, because some people think, like the whole Earth is moving up, 9.8 meters per second, and it's just making some kind of weird, like just show me a map
Yeah.
of what the world would look like.
So when they're in their echo chambers and when they're making videos where they don't have to answer to anybody, they'll give you the AE map. Right? They'll happily claim that. But as soon as you ask them to justify it, then the excuses show up. Like, oh,
Well,
that's just a representation. Like, but you very specifically and literally claimed that there's an ice wall around the outside and that Antarctica encases us and that the North Pole is in the center. Well, all of those things require the AE map to be the thing that it is. That's what you just described. Like, oh, no.
well, it's funny, the ice wall and then extra parts outside of the
extra
ice wall.
lands. Yeah, that's funny.
Well, but if you just live inside of this ice wall that you claim, how do you say, oh, it's South Pole? We can't say the North Star. North Pole. We can't say the Southern Cross.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Well, everybody says the same things. And like the guy that you had on earlier, and he was talking about religion, and he's like, well, the Bible says, or God says, and it's a lot of the flat earthers that you have dealt with.
Oh yeah.
Well, look, man, I can believe in a God and also science at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, those two things are not conflicting. They aren't opposing. You just have to think about things.
Yeah.
I'm sure in your life you've had to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't see a conflict. I think if religion can claim to be true, it has to match reality. If religion doesn't match reality, obviously that religion is not correct. So,
Well, and I would say that is 100% kind of the way that I feel. But so some of the things that I've been told was, well, you can't have, Darwin and God. Well, I don't understand why you couldn't, because God said
Darwin was not an atheist, to my knowledge.
well, no, and he wasn't mine either. But you can't have, like the world was created in 7 days, and then also Earth is 3 billion years old.
Yeah, that doesn't work. I think if I remember right, Darwin is buried in England in the I toured it. I'm forgetting it. It's right next to Parliament. Help me, people. Where's Darwin buried?
Hang on. Did you go to Hawking's? You got a Hawking's grave?
No, this was when he was still alive, so he wasn't in there yet.
No, but the reason I would ask you that is that did you see? I know you know what is on Hawking's grave.
I don't.
Hawking's grave is like it's a for it's
I've run out, by the way. So, what's on his grave? Westminster Abbey is where Darwin is buried, and so we're at 5 minutes. Spit out what was it you were gonna say about Hawking's?
no. I apologize. I'm done. No, I apologize. I apologize.
It's all good. Clive Wells says you don't need to be religious to be buried at Westminster. Okay, I don't know. I don't know the Church of England rule. So okay, well, Stevie McCullough, thank you for connecting in. I've got Round Thinker coming in, then Al Khwarizmi, followed by Purcell, and then Web B. So that's the order. CV McCullough, thank you for coming. You can drop out of the meeting when on your own there. While Round Thinker is joining. I hear a little echo. Is that you, Round Thinker?
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, now
There we go. Welcome, Round Thinker.
Hello.
What time is it there in Israel?
7:45 a.m.
All right.
7:47.
Man, that's early to be up.
No, I'm awake for about an hour or so.
I don't get up that early very often. Oh,
I don't really have a choice.
You've got things to do, people to see, kids to get off to school.
No, I wish it was the kids. As you can see, I'm in uniform.
Yeah, you've got some military logistics and stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I must tell you because I didn't get a chance earlier. After our last talk, I had a very boring Saturday, and I just got to the synagogue and pulled out the book of Job, and I had a lot of time to think about those 3 verses.
We should explain so that people know.
And I think I've got it right.
Okay, let me give background on this. The debate between Greg Locke and Dean Odell. Dean talks about the Earth is like clay under a seal, or is as clay under a seal. And my contention is that it's a simile, it's figurative talk, and Round Thinker here helped me to understand the Hebrew, that it is in Hebrew it is a simile. Greg Locke, actually, who's a Glober, they had this biblical debate on whether or not the Bible says that the Earth is flat, which I think it doesn't matter, because obviously there are disagreements. So there's no obvious one way, and the only way to really look at it is to say, well, reality is one thing, and if a holy book, no matter what holy book it is, says something other than reality, then something's not right in that conflict, and I'm going to go with reality. Anyway, Greg claimed that dayspring, which is sunrise, is a word that was referenced later in the verse that Dean Odell says. It says, it takes shape as a clay under a seal. It. And Greg said it is referring to the dayspring, the sunrise. And Dean says it is referring to the Earth. And so that was the main point of their contention. Greg said, do you think it means dayspring? Dean said no. And then Greg said, get out, turn off his microphone. Not the right way to do it. Not even close. Anyway, so that was the point of the conversation. So bring us, now that we're up to date, what's the rest of it?
So, in Hebrew, it's quite simple because, as I told you, the form of the verb or the noun is changing when you're referencing a masculine or a feminine. noun, or when you're talking to a man or a woman in a verb. So it refers to the earth, that it refers to the earth.
Yeah, because it takes shape is a feminine it. And earth in the previous verse is a feminine form of the noun.
Yes.
And dayspring is masculine.
Yes, in
So the
Hebrew.
verb and the noun match in gender.
Light and morning and dawn are all masculine in Hebrew. So as I mentioned earlier, I had a very boring Saturday. In case everyone doesn't know, Orthodox Jews do not use computers or phones on Saturday.
Ah, yeah.
So I took the book of Job, a physical one. It's here next, in the next room. I left it there. And I think I've got it right. I mean, in the entire context, not just these 3 verses, the entire context of the chapter and the chapter earlier, because it's a continuous section. And it's very disturbing, I must say, because it refers to the light that holds the edges of the earth. And by the edges of the earth, I mean, most verses take it as like real edges of the earth. The verse earlier, the previous verse. So, I mean, it must be, I mean, in Hebrew, it is a common way of speech, to say that the light holds the earth, or not just light. I mean, when something is hitting something else, it's, wait a second, there's an airplane. I don't know if you hear me.
I don't hear the plane.
Okay. So in Hebrew, it's quite common to say it that way. But as always, Fluffs take everything too literally. And the most plausible explanation, as I see it, that is agreeable to everything with the entire chapter, is that when the light hits the earth, the wicked that are afraid of light, because they are wicked, are running away. I don't really know how it goes in English.
Okay.
And
it's going to shake them.
Yeah, to shake. The earth is shaking. No, it's not like the earth is shaken. The wicked are shaken from the earth because of the light. They are afraid of the light because they are wicked. And when that happens, the earth turns or takes shape. In Hebrew, it's the same word. Like a clay, I mean, when it's
like clay
more
under
like
a seal.
No, the seal is pretty much marginal in that context. The clay is the important thing, not the seal. The seal is something that, how do I say it? Like, I can do everything I want with a clay if I have a seal. I don't have to shape it every time. From the beginning, I have a stamp, I have a pattern, I have the seal can be changed, but the action of stamping the earth is the make it have shapes.
Hmm.
That's the idea.
All right.
Okay, I think I got it. I have too long already.
Yeah, time's up. So somebody's asking, what's your rank? I know you recently got a promotion.
Yeah, I don't really remember how it goes in English in US ranks. You know, just give me a second.
Yeah, he sent me the rank earlier a couple days ago. But forgot.
Okay, that's Sergeant Major.
Sergeant Major. All right.
That's the one. Okay, and I sent you a picture on Facebook. I think you like it.
Okay, I'll have a look. All right. We've got thanks for popping by, Round Thinker. Hey, a few people could somebody grab his link to his channel? I know you know about him. Go subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to him, and it will help his channel. So, all right, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm going to get that name wrong. And help his channel. So, all right,
Khwarizmi.
How you have to mute the YouTube stream and help his channel. So, all right, that's what happens. That's what happens if you have it the YouTube stream going. So when I tell you that you're on deck, get ready so you can mute that. All right, say it again. I want to get your name right.
Al-Khwarizmi. You should know
Al-Khwarizmi.
about Al-Khwarizmi.
I should?
Yes, you write software for a living.
I do.
The word algorithm is derived from the name Al-Khwarizmi.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, now you do.
Oh, awesome.
For those of us who are biological entities that convert caffeine into software bugs.
That is exactly right. Convert caffeine into software bugs.
And then we fix the bugs.
Yeah, that's the more software you've written, the more time you spend not writing new software.
Yes. And I've been at this long enough that I almost never write new software.
Yep.
I fix the old stuff.
So true. It's so true.
So I wanted to take issue with the music of the 80s being the best music.
Oh, hey, that's directed at Vlad, not me.
Well, but you were agreeing with him, weren't you?
I was being agreeable. How about that?
Oh, okay. Okay.
I wasn't choosing that fight to fight. There's a different when you've got a Flurfon, you've got to pick which ones you're gonna.
You have to pick your battles.
And if you ever see me going, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. You're just smiling and nodding. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. But there was some good music in it. You know who Leland Sklar and Daryl Sturmer are?
No.
Lee Sklar is probably the most recorded bass player in the history of music.
Okay.
He's a studio musician, but he's played with like tons of people. Daryl Sturmer plays with Genesis and Phil Collins.
Well, I should know that, but I only really know Phil Collins.
Okay, so Lee Sklar tells the story of being he was what album was it? Was it No Jacket Required? I think it was No Jacket Required, but
that's one of them.
It turns out I'm wrong all the night about it. But Phil brought him to London to record that album. He gets on the elevator and he's got his gig bag, right? The elevator goes down another floor. Another guy gets on the elevator. He's got a gig bag. They start talking. What are you here for? Well, I'm here to record an album with Phil Collins. Oh, really? Where are you from? I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Oh, really? And that's how Lee Sklar and Daryl Sturmer met. On the elevator, on the way to the studio to record an album with Phil Collins.
Are they both from Milwaukee?
Yes, they're both from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yes. There are a lot of great stories in
That's cool.
from the music industry that no one ever hears about. Um,
So
but anyway,
what is the best era for music then?
that's a good question. That is a very good question.
You're taking umbrage with the 80s being the answer. So 70s,
It's
60s,
hard to pick
90s.
between. It's hard to pick between the '60s and the '70s.
Okay.
It's hard to choose.
Beatles, Zeppelin, Black
Beatles,
Sabbath.
Zeppelin. When FM radio was on the rise, that opened the door to a lot of different kinds of music,
Yeah.
and that was during the '70s. So you had this.
Gentle Giant.
Don't think I've heard of them, but that's okay.
No, you haven't heard of Gentle Giant? Oh,
No.
my.
Renaissance, Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull, yeah.
Jethro Tull, of course, but not Renaissance. Huh?
No.
A lot of progressive rock came.
That's why I said Gentle Giant.
Yeah, that's.
I thought you would have. Yeah, all right.
I have little doubt that a lot of progressive bands that came up that I have not heard about.
Yeah.
It's such a vast field.
ELO.
That alone is a testament to how fertile that period of time was.
Oh yeah.
Right. So Earthrise is saying Renaissance, yes. Of course, Annie Haslam, who was the singer for Renaissance, was quite an eyeful for a teenager. But yeah, we'll leave that at that.
All right.
So, how long do you want to talk about music?
Well,
I could spend all night talking about this stuff.
Well, yeah, we might lose some people if we go too far down that rabbit hole.
Yeah,
and we're at 5 minutes.
Have we had our 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about all right? The other circle wants 90s skate punk. What about late 90s ska? How about that?
Late 90s ska? No.
I didn't think that would. I didn't think you'd go for that. All right. Well, thank you for stopping by, Algorithm. I'll just call you Algorithm.
No, you can call me Al. How's that for
Al.
80s music?
You can call me Al. That is so 80s.
Have a good one, Mike.
All right, thank you. We've got Mr. Purcell coming in, then Webb, and then Exposing Ma's Tricks. That's who's on queued up here. Exposing Ma's Tricks, of course, is the flatty in the chat here. So, all right, you got no microphone with Mr. Purcell. I didn't say your first name. I don't know if you want to. I'm always careful. I don't know if you want your information leaked. Yes, Paul Simon. You can call me Al. Yeah, his name is Paul, and he's telling people they can call him Al. Why? It doesn't make sense. So Gentle Giant, in case you're wondering, Gentle Giant was a 70s progressive rock band. A guy I used to work with was a big fan. Said, hey, you need to listen. So I started listening. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good stuff. Start at the beginning. If you really want to listen to some Gentle Giant, if you're interested, start at their first album and just move forward. So, all right. Oh, we've got somebody on camera even. Let's get it. Here we go. Welcome. Oh, we've got still no microphone though. So, but I see you. Everybody sees you. Wave to everybody. I don't know if he can hear me or not. I'll take him off screen. Oh, as the story goes, says Al, Paul Simon attended a party where the host called him Al. That's funny. Oh, and Limey Play has joined the queue. Yeah, Webb, then Exposing Ma's Tricks, then Limey Play. So yeah, it make sure you test so you don't have to do this. So tell you what, I'll jump to web, and then when you get your, hopefully web, get ready. When you get your audio, then you can jump back in, Mr. Purcell. So web, let's see, web is connecting. Nothing from web yet.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, web. How you doing?
Oh, wonderful. Just muted my stream, so didn't
All right.
caught me with my pants down, taking the other call first.
Yeah,
How you doing, man? Merry Christmas.
I'm good. Thank you. You too. Is web? Should I call you web? Is that?
It's Webb, yeah.
Okay.
It's my initials. I know
Okay.
that capital B throws people. That's fine. And while we're on the topic, before we get into it of confusing names, why is it? It seems to me that in to flat earthers you're Mictune, but the broader audience you're MC Tune. Like it seems strangely consistent.
It is very consistent. It has happened. I noticed it years ago, and I don't fight it. It's a way. So in their echo chambers, that's what they call me.
Okay.
And so it's how they self-identify. So if somebody shows up calling me Mictune, then I'm pretty sure they're a flatty. And I've actually had, so like Jaren has at times has not called me Mictune. I'm like, dude, you need to call me. You need to call that to me for
Don't ruin this for me.
consistency.
It's working.
Yeah. And then a couple other people have who are not flat earthers have gone with the Scottish name, the Scottish version. I'm not Scottish. And I'm like, no, you don't do that because then it's confusing for people. So yeah.
I just had to ask you about that because it just always seemed to be a running theme.
It is. Yeah.
Like you, especially when you're in a Discord chat, and there'll be people calling you MC Tune, and then other people calling you Mictune at the same time, and nobody
Yeah.
goes like, "Wait, this is this dude's name. Can we ask him?"
Yeah. It's Mike. Just say Mike or Tune. Either works fine. You don't need to. The MC part is a joke. My middle initial is not C. It's a take on MC Hammer when I was a joke rapper.
Oh,
So
oh man, I feel like there's some videos we're really missing out on now.
there's fortunately no videos. None at all of it. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, blessed to grow up in that era right before everything was recorded, so all my embarrassing hijinks are safe.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to call you about, besides wishing you a Merry Christmas and thanking you for all the great content, I wanted to talk a little bit about just what kind of drew me to Flat Earth and your content. And what it was for me was I actually genuinely appreciate and kind of love the idea of inquiring into and questioning science. I kind of love people taking a step back and saying like, wait, we all know, air quotes, that we live on the globe because we learned it all our lives, but why is that true? How can I go back and take the steps others have taken and find out for myself if that's actually true? And I feel like it just being able to ask those questions just kind of opens up this giant world of inquiry that I kind of slipped and fell backwards down. That's just been kind of a wonderful journey of discovery because there's kind of like this is going to sound kind of condescending, but kind of like a childlike wonder to a lot of the questions I ask. And what really annoys me about the what the flat Earth community has done is they take all these genuinely wonderful questions that have hard answers, and they just ask the question, and instead of inquiring, they think they made a point, and they just stop, and it's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking.
It's the infinite regression. They ask a question, you give them the correct answer, they say nuh-uh.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. That number's too big or whatever. They kind of have they have
the
a
numbers thing, dude.
A collection of stock answers to different things. Why can we see a certain distance. Well, that's what the globe plus refraction says. Well, refraction's fake. No, it's not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And of course, missing the entire point of, how far should we see on flat Earth? Well, as far as physics and optics knows, indefinitely far. There's no reason to have anything blocked bottom up if you're not right on the ground, right? If you're 10 feet up, there's nothing that would block it. Nothing. Like, oh, it's angular resolution. Why does angular resolution affect only the bottom?
I'm a 3D artist for a living, and I can't tell you how much I've learned about optics from diving into flat Earth content. It's incredible. Where's a photo of New York from Paris? Like, where is it? Go in the tallest building.
They have a few points. They have, that's too far to see through what you would see in the air. So, I see Mr. Purcell has gotten the audio working. So,
oh, wonderful! I pretty much got my point across about how there's this, asking why the Earth. How do we know the Earth is round? Is actually a wonderful question.
I would say it's a great question. It
really is.
All of the questions that they ask are fantastic questions.
But yeah, when you're asking a question,
answer,
you're not making a point when you ask a question. Yeah.
And rejecting the answer is not a legitimate thing. Asking the question is legitimate. Rejecting the answer is not. So,
absolutely.
All right.
Thanks a lot, man. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, chat. Happy New Year.
All right, Michael, Mr. Purcell. Sorry, Mr. Purcell. I kind of let it loose there. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. How are you?
I am fine, thank you, MC Toon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, good. Where are you connecting from?
I am connecting from Australia.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, what's on your mind?
I really, really love your streams. I enjoy being a part of them in the chat, and I enjoy engaging with those within the chat.
Thank you.
They are. You have some of the most knowledgeable people in your chat.
I'm always amazed. Clive Wells is right here. He's right now. What is he doing listening to me? I'm not worthy.
Not only Clive Wells, but Professor Phil Bell, PhD Tony, and many others. Many others.
Absolutely, yeah.
They are such knowledgeable individuals, and being a part of the community that you have surrounded yourself with is such a pleasure.
Well, good. Yeah, I agree. The people that show up almost every week are I love watching the live chat. It's almost like I'm like, I just need to get a flatty on so that I can interact with the live chat. Sometimes that's it. Because
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know fully what you mean. That the flat earthers just don't want to be a part of what you represent and what the debunking community represents.
Yeah, they're just the window dressing.
I've been watching FTFE, yourself, Dave McKeegan, and Simon Dan, and all of the rest. And I must just say that it has been so enjoyable.
Mr. Sensible, don't forget him.
Oh, of course. Who can forget the individual who sent a
balloon,
weather balloon into the stratosphere to take a picture? Well, not only a picture, but a video from ground to the stratosphere of the curvature of the Earth. He has been. He is one of the instrumental people in the community. I've been watching Creaky Blinder and so many others. They are just so informative and so I just learn. I appreciate the opportunity that you and all of the rest of the debunking community represent for me to personally learn. And I appreciate it so much. I can't tell you so much how I appreciate the opportunity that I have to learn from such knowledgeable individuals as these people, and how much effort that they personally put in to be able to present the observations and information that they are so willing to put forth to the community. They are just such an asset to everyone who's in this community. You know, it's so overwhelming that they're part of this. You know, I don't know what to say, that these people are prepared to share their knowledge.
Yeah, I don't feel so, worthy to be included in the list. I just write software. You look at some of these other people that are around, and they have the depth that I don't. I mean, I could talk at length about delivering emails to Google. But it's boring as can be.
In Australia, we had so much difficulty with one service provider called Optus. I don't know if you're aware of it, but they had a interruption to their service, and it caused so much havoc in the community within Australia. And it was just such a disruptive influence when they made such a fundamental error where they did an update and they weren't capable of repairing the damage that this update had done.
Oh yeah, that happens.
I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but
I'm not. Internet service providers in Australia are much removed from our daily.
It caused so much disruption. You don't understand. With Optus, they had no mobile communication. They had no internet. They had nothing, and it really did cause such a disruption that the government has had to step in and do so much auditing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They had so much. They are progressing with auditing on all of the internet service providers within Australia.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
Everybody has outage. Everybody has an outage. It's going to happen.
Oh no, this was 14 hours worth of outage. 14 hours.
That's a lot. Yeah, you can't keep 5 nines. You can't keep your 5 nines on 14 hours of outage.
People went absolutely nuts and mad and crazy over this outage. Another internet service provider, TPG, had their own troubles over a fiber optic link to Guam, and that's under constant review as to the repairs and the ongoing interaction with that. And I take a look at these flat earthers and I just think to myself, how stupid do you have to be? You know, I can present you with photos of a link of a ground station that has a permanent presence and a link to a geostationary satellite to space for an internet, to a telecommunications carrier, namely Optus, the one who had the major outage recently in the local area that I'm in. where that doesn't move, and it's connected. It's pointed directly at a geostationary satellite, and these flat earthers
It's
think,
a balloon, they say. That's so silly.
oh,
All right. Well,
how does a balloon
Stay still.
maintain a geostationary? That's exactly right.
Yeah, they can't
For
explain
not only years but decades.
Yeah.
I do work within the telecommunications industry, and that base station has been there for decades, to
yeah.
my
They don't have
knowledge.
anything.
Australia was instrumental in the first moon landing. They had
you were the connection link for a lot of it. Yeah.
Well, exactly. We had one link that was the Canberra Deep Space Communications Centre that was responsible for the primary link to the command module, which orbited the moon. We had that was Canberra Deep Space Communications Centre. Parkes Radio Communications Centre Parkes Radio Telescope was responsible initially for the primary link to the lunar lander. During the landing, Parkes had a weather event, high wind weather event, where that produced unstable communications to the lunar lander. So it was diverted to the backup, which was Honeysuckle Creek. That's correct, Honeysuckle Creek, which provided the link to the lunar module, to the lunar lander module for the first 9 minutes of the first lunar landing, first man on the moon landing. And after that, the weather conditions in Parkes settled down, and it was switched live. Just live from Honeysuckle Creek to Parkes. And these people consistently question whether or not the first lunar landing was valid. It is beyond belief to me.
Yeah.
When this sort of information is readily available on the internet.
The people there would have had to be in on it because they would not have been receiving anything. So
I was at Canberra Deep Space Communications Centre when they had a 50th anniversary of the first lunar landing, and there were 4 buses worth of people who had been bussed in to have a lunch to commemorate the first lunar landing. There were 4 buses worth of people there, minimum.
Yeah.
Four coaches worth of people, containing at least 30 people, 32 people each. And you think to yourself, well, how? How do these people continue to question this sort of thing?
Yeah, they're claiming they're all tricked. But all right, well, we're over 5 minutes.
I appreciate the opportunity to come in and have a chat with you. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everybody's indulgence in this conversation. Thank you so much to you and your community.
Thank you for stopping by. All right.
You're welcome.
Exposing Ma's Tricks is coming up, followed by Limey Play. I think I do know who Limey Play is. So, all right. Exposing Ma's Tricks. Are you going to be on camera, buddy?
Hey, do you hear me?
I do. I know it's dark there in Seattle. Are you gonna be on camera or not? It's okay either way.
Am I on camera? Am I on camera?
I just see a black screen. Might not be enough light.
Well, it is. Might not be enough light. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's okay.
Well, you think darkness is your ally?
I don't think anything about that. For reference, Exposing Ma's Tricks is a flatty Glad to have you here. We talk every once in a while. We had a good conversation a couple weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah. What was it about? I can't remember.
Thanks to television, I can't remember 10 minutes ago. I
Makes
don't
you wonder
actually,
about the Mandela effect, doesn't it?
I don't actually watch television. It's a joke. It's from The Simpsons. Hey, Dave Kircher says, thank Titicaca, it's Talkie Tunes Day, and thanks to Super Tune for keeping us attached. What do you think of that?
Well, someone had to protect the fat her.
The fat her. But you mean the father?
That's the right angle.
You put the space in there. It's not actually in there.
It's not in there?
No, it's just FAT, no space, HER.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you don't believe in creative license, right?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, definitely. Be creative and take the license with you.
Well, you believe in God, right? Something created this place and it probably had an intention, right?
Sure.
Okay. So maybe it's not there by accident. I don't know.
The space in between T and H and father?
You have to speak it, right?
I don't know what you mean.
Neither do I. I'm
I
a
know.
fool like you.
No, it's always
You know,
riddles. It's always riddles.
well, it's between you and your mother, you know.
No. Mostly I'm talking between myself and my mother is not riddles.
That's all she ever gives any of us.
You've not met her.
You know, I'm not talking about your mother. I'm talking about the great mother, you know.
I'm talking about my mother.
Okay. Well, I'd love to be there if she's still around.
I saw her this weekend, and she she's messing with my hair. She's like, it was like this. It was like this, had this hook thing. Like, I can't make it not do that. And she's like trying to push it back. And I'm like, it's not going to go. She goes, no, it won't go. Like, that's what I said.
You definitely got the wave going. Just don't start looking like Craig the fish. Craig looks like a fish, doesn't he?
A fish. I don't know why he looks like a fish.
With his little spiked hair up there.
I think he looks like Jimmy Neutron.
Okay.
How about that?
That's a good one. I don't know. I don't know what I want to talk about with you. I don't have a desire, so it's kind of on you.
It's on me.
Yeah.
On what you talk about. That rarely happens. You know what? Really, the problem is that if I start talking about something with you, the topic will change right away.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Well, let's talk about what science is, right? That was our last topic of
That
conversation.
is, yeah. We were talking about what is science. Yeah, and I talked about this book by Popper.
Right.
And let's see. This book by Kuhn, The Structure. It's hard to read, probably. The Structure of Scientific Revolution. Or people just call it Structure a lot of the time. Yeah.
Okay.
And Popper, people, scientists like Popper, but he pushes it a bit far, and people are like, okay, we'll ride the bus with Popper a certain distance on falsification as the kind of the basis. But he went so far. He's like, well, you can never actually have any positive, anything on the positive side. All you can do is continuously fail to falsify, which is a bit too harsh, because at some point you're like, you're satisfied, and then reality kicks in. You're like, all right, I've done enough attempts at falsification and it didn't work. Let's stop. And so what does it mean when you stop doing falsification tests? It means that for some reason you are satisfied enough that the positive side has been fulfilled. That's, you know, as being very strict pupper. But in reality, yeah, people are like more of, there is a confirmation that we do get with a certain, you know, after a while.
So that means that all the tests of the globe were done before Eratosthenes put that stick in the ground, right? Because that was when it confirmed it for everybody, right?
No, Eratosthenes measured the circumference of the Earth. That's what he did.
Somebody,
Yeah, before him were several others that had established the shape, and that was well confirmed.
okay. And all the tests that they did, we don't have records of them, right?
I think for the most part we just have writings. Yeah, we don't have specifics. So, for example, and so they may or may not be totally correct. Sometimes these ancient people get credit when somebody else did it, but because they're a popular figure, they get credit. So Pythagoras, about 500 BC, gets credit as one of the earliest people to posit that the Earth is a globe. And you've got Aristarchus in 320 BC, that was written about in the Sand Reckoner by Archimedes. Like 100 years later. So was Aristarchus the one? Like, how did it get from Aristarchus what he did to Archimedes writing it down? I don't know. You've got Aristotle about the same time. You've got Euclid about 300 BC also, who wrote the phenomena, though some people say he wasn't the one that wrote it. Whether or not he wrote it, it was approximately the same time frame, I think. So it doesn't matter who wrote it as much as this was just that people knew this, at least in you know, certain circles. So then Archimedes was 212 with the Sand Reckoner, and then you get to Eratosthenes 194 BC. So we had about 300 years of knowledge of the Earth's shape being a globe, but without any written documentation I'm aware of measurements of its circumference or radius.
Okay. So we were saying tan way before that.
I don't think anybody was saying tan. They were talking in Greek and Aramaic and Latin, and certainly not English. And they certainly weren't doing, to my knowledge, they weren't doing trig using the word tangent. So I don't think so.
Well, they were thinking that they were looking down at the ball, whatever the language was that was in their heads, right?
Yeah, but they were not saying tan.
But that's what you say now, right?
To be very certain, they were not saying tan. In fact, I don't even generally say that. I generally say tangent, or arctangent if I'm talking about the inverse of the function. Yeah.
So if I asked you why the Earth ends, you wouldn't say tan?
No. Because the Earth doesn't
say-
end. The Earth is a globe, so
you'd
there's
say
no
what?
end.
No, but why is there a
I would say I don't.
horizon?
No, I would say I don't agree
Why
with
do I
you.
stop why
Earth
do I
doesn't
stop
have an end.
resolving the ground at some point? Why do I stop resolving the ground at some point?
What?
Why do I stop resolving the Earth or the ground at some point?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either.
You wouldn't say your tangential side is along
I wouldn't say.
Curving ball was.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything of the things that you're saying. It's not. It's a sphere. It's not sinusoidal either.
You say I'm looking down at the ball.
No,
tangentially.
I didn't say that.
Along its surface. No,
I don't say any of these things. You do.
Okay, Michael. What causes the horizon? Use your language. Tell me what it is.
It's the
edge.
Say Oh, you asked me a question. You gotta let me answer, dude.
Sorry. Go.
I'd say it's the edge of the crest of the curve.
The edge of the crest of the curve.
Crest of the curve. That's a good way to say it. I've not said it that way before. That's
interesting.
Good. Hey, you can't say that. That's Jaren's word.
Yeah. And he proved the Earth is a ball too, right?
He did. Yeah.
But you told me science
Someday
doesn't prove
maybe
things.
someday he'll
But,
come to know that to be the case.
but you told me science doesn't prove things. So what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I was letting you
You
use your
can't prove
terminology.
things.
I was letting you use your terminology. I agree that the concept of proof isn't something that exists in science.
Okay. So I say, and you said that Popper agrees with me, is that science is all the attempts to falsify hypothesis using experiments,
Yes.
which, according to me and a lot of good people, I think that you need some manipulation of an independent variable in hopes of witnessing a dependent variable that your hypothesis cannot explain. That's how you defeat hypothesis, right?
I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree. That's too specific. That's an experiment is broader than that.
Why? Why am I not trying to find a different cause? I'm trying to find a different cause than the one I currently believe.
Yeah, an experiment does not strictly identify a cause. In fact, it can be broader than that.
Right. So the only thing I have and what science is all about is process of elimination, right?
Yeah, you eliminate. Yeah, as you eliminate more and more things, you're left with the smaller subset of things that are the possible ones. That's the strict Popperian view, which is a bit on the too strict side for most scientists, because you never actually know when you're done testing. That's the problem. You never reach a point where you're like, oh, I've now reached the point where I'm satisfied enough. Popper just says, well, you just move on. How do you test when it's time to move on? Popper doesn't provide that. That's where you get into Kuhn. Kuhn's like, okay, well, let's just look at how people actually do things and document that. And that's what he does. He has just documented, here's how people have done it in the past. And since they've been successful at things, they must have been doing something right. Right?
Yeah, I mean, ideas thrive. But you told me that the other idea was that there's just huge shifts in the way we see things, and it all is going to, well, you tell me what the language you used was.
A scientific revolution?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to look it up, but the way you made it sound, it was like things get turned over big time.
Yeah, it's in here. It's in the title, The Structure of Scientific Revolution. So scientific revolution is when you've worked you work within a paradigm. That's his word, paradigm, on science, with a handful of foundational ideas that your day-to-day work, your puzzle solving, is not questioning. You're just relying on those things having been figured out and having been a certain way. So they're essentially an axiom. So up until the late 1800s, the axiom was that the luminiferous ether exists, and that's what light moves through. But when they got towards the edges of that and they started doing things that tested towards the edge of whether, how the luminiferous ether would react in some, more extreme cases, like, wait a second, it's starting to fall apart. Michelson Morley was unable to determine that the ether was in existence. They had assumed it was part of their paradigm, and they said, well, we're gonna use Earth's movement around the sun to test its effect on light's moving in relation to the ether that must be also moving because the Earth is moving, and they found it didn't work. So that, Airy's failure, and some other things, like, wait a second, you start to get these things that disconnect and they don't match anymore within your paradigm. You say, there's something wrong with the paradigm. And so you get into this state where you're like, we're in a little bit of a quandary. And then, hopefully, something comes along and resolves it. And that's what Einstein did with relativity, that he resolved all the problems that were coming into the luminiferous ether and brought him a scientific revolution with it.
Yes. Well, you know, I happen to side with Einstein and say that the ancient one doesn't roll dice, you know. He was just playing his role, and so are we. And this story took a turn, you know, and Einstein is one stone. He killed two birds with one stone, the ability to detect the motion of anything and the ether. And he was destined to do it. And if you're assuming of the floor is moving when it's not, it might might change the way you're perceiving what the sky's doing.
Yeah. But they had previously established through multiple other experiments that the floor, as you put it, is moving. So that was not in question, and it has not been in question since the several different types of experiments have been done and confirmed, subsequently after that.
I assume you're talking about the Foucault's pendulum.
No. I'm talking about the aberration of light from James Bradley. I'm talking about Romer and his measurement of the time discrepancy of the occultation of Io behind into Jupiter's shadow. I'm talking about Schneier and et al. And the color change of the radial component of light as annually. I'm talking about stellar parallax from that first measured by Bessel in 1838.
Parallax? Is that something you could like represent to me in images?
I could.
The actual observations that were taken?
The actual observations?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't have the actual so when Bessel first measured it in let me see here, 1839. Did I say 1838? It's 1839. So in 1839, Bessel measured the parallax of star 61 Cygni to be 0.314 arc seconds. There, to my knowledge, there weren't options for photographic plates at the time. I think it was a little bit later when they got plates. So I don't think that there's any plates of that. So that's the first one, but there are subsequent measurements. Here, there you go. I put in the chat. You can look at that. Links to several of the measurements of parallax. So you could drop down there, and there's several of them from. Let's see. The parallaxes of 23 stars determined from plates taken with the McCormick 26-inch refractor. That was published in 1973. So.
What age are you living in? What age are you living in?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The fish.
I'm not into astrology, so I don't care.
The Pisces. You don't see the pi in there?
No.
0.314? 3.14? The pi?
3.14 is, yep, you're right. That is the value of pi, but I don't know what you're talking about with the parallaxes of 23 stars determined from the plates with the McCormick 26-inch refractor. Nowhere in there is 3.14.
You said the, I don't remember what it was, but you said it
in
was
1839, Bessel measured the parallax of star 61 Cygni to be 0.314. So 1/10 the value of pi.
And we don't allow
in arc seconds.
And we don't allow for creative license to this place, do we?
I don't know why that would be a thing, but if you doubt his, then there are thousands of other parallax measurements that you can refer to.
Because I'm told by you and everyone else. Never mind. I don't even want to go into it. Obviously, you don't
remember, Remember, everything in science has the door open to be questioned, to be falsified. So if Bessel got it wrong, right? He was the early one. He's like, I got it. Then later, other people, contemporaries of Bessel, could have said, "You're full of crap. I think you're lying. I'm going to go do your measurements better than you, and I'm going to disprove you, and I'm going to show that you're full of crap." And then they do it. They're like, "Oh, wait. Turns out he was right. I got the same thing."
And they all
The
have
door is
records of
open.
all of them doing this, and
to be
everybody
clear,
does this in science because it's so worth it.
So to be clear, if Bessel lied and somebody else was like, "I'm going to expose him," that would be a huge deal for that person. They definitely want to do that. There's a huge motivation for somebody to come along and say, "Bessel, you're full of crap. Here's the real way to do it. You totally screwed up on your measurement. Here's the thing. There was none." But nobody did that. And today, people can go confirm on their own to see whether or not it's correct, because star 6061 Cygni is still there, and you can still go and measure whether or not there is a 0.314 arc-second parallax.
Yeah. I wish somebody would, well, who knows if people have been doing it. You're going to tell me that people have, but you're not going to produce any records of it. Do I just go with
I linked it in the chat. Tell you what, I will send you.
Is it numbers on a page?
How do you do the final step of the scientific method?
How do you do the final step?
Yeah, the final step of the scientific method is communicate your results, right?
Yes.
Right. How do you do that? How do you do that in 1839?
In 1839.
Yeah. How do you communicate your results in 1839?
Okay.
What?
So
it's an easy question. It's not a trick question. You write it down, and then you send it off somewhere to hopefully distribute it to somewhere else. That's still the general way that people do it. You write it down, you detail everything that you did, and you send it off. And if people think you're full of crap, they will say so. The door is open for them to say you're full of crap.
And there's so many people that are so willing to go out and watch a fucking star every single night and make the meticulous calculations and measurements of.
Yes, there are.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Because people, here's the beauty of it, and you don't see this. I wish you would. There are people that are just getting started in astronomy, and it's a field with a lot of people in it, and so you come into the field, you're a nobody. What's a great way to go from being a nobody to being a somebody in a field? In any field, anywhere, in any group, by doing something big. So if you can take and you can be the guy that introduces a scientific revolution to something, or if you can be the guy that says, "You're all full of crap, here's the real way to do it." Those are two really good ways to turn from nobody into somebody. So the door is open to, and everybody that publishes knows this, that there are going to be people scrutinizing every step of what they do. And I've not done peer-reviewed publishing, but I've spoken with several people that have, and they say it's an absolute minefield. It's in many ways an absolutely horrible experience, because everybody wants to shoot you down. Because the journal that publishes you, if they're a reputable journal, they don't want to publish crap. So if you come to them and you didn't do a formula right, or you left out some details, they're going to say, "No, we don't want this."
No, I always heard the best way to go is to stand on the shoulders of the giants that did the great work in the past.
Of course, yes. When you're standing on those shoulders have been confirmed through this process where people have tested and scrutinized the things that they've done and said, I don't know about that. Maybe you screwed up here, but turns out you were right.
Well, it's interesting you did that hand gesture. The cold shoulder, you were doing the ball, turning away from the sun, giving it the cold shoulder. Yeah, there you go. How do you kid? Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know how anybody tested anything here. It just seems.
I just told you.
Yeah. One guy says that a star moved.
Yeah,
and
hundreds or thousands of other people have since then are like, let's go check it out ourselves.
Someone was on earlier, and they said something about Barnard star.
Yeah,
how it was the best example of what proper motion. You said
proper motion. Yep.
That means that the stars have a spin to them, right? A rotation to them, and
we generally don't see their rotation. So some things we can see their rotation, like quasars and stuff, but Barnard star isn't about the rotation; it's about the movement.
No, I'm looking at the picture of the whole sky here.
Okay.
It's all rotating.
Oh yeah, the entire sky rotates. Yes, because there's two celestial poles. Yeah. Okay.
And you're suggesting that some of those stars don't maintain that position in the sky, according to that reference frame or whatever.
Yes.
They're moving in a way different.
They move. Yeah, and there's lots of different movements that are part of stars that have been well documented. So there's stellar aberration. So stars in the right on the celestial equator have a linear motion that's 6 months in cycle, a full year in cycle, right? From 0 to 6 months is the extreme, and then back to 12 months brings you back to the original spot. And on the celestial equator, it's a line back and forth, 20 arc seconds, which is well within our ability to measure their position. At the celestial poles, it's a circle, 20 arc seconds in diameter, and everywhere in between it's an ellipse. So there's that. There's also, all stars have that. There's parallax, which all stars that have parallax have it at varying amounts. There's some stars that don't have any. They're what they call the fixed stars. They're not technically fixed, but they're called that. They're so far away, and their movement to us is so small that we can't actually identify their movement. But there's stars that are close enough that we can measure their parallax. And that's what Bessel was measuring. He measured 0.314 arc seconds of parallax. There's also precession, which is a 26,000 year cycle. And then Barnard star is what's called proper motion, where in relation to the stars in its vicinity, it's moving a relatively large amount. So.
What's the arc of a rainbow?
A rainbow is a circle.
Yeah, but it has a certain angular radius.
Yeah, 360 degrees is the how many? But it's radius.
Yeah.
It's angular radius. From the center to where the I don't recall offhand.
What's the story you've been living in?
I don't do riddles.
Did you see V for Vendetta?
I did. I love that movie.
What was God in that movie?
I don't remember. Just no riddles, man. Skip the riddles. Just
He takes her out to the rain on the rooftop, and she says, Natalie Portman, God is in the rain. right?
Okay.
Well, if you add up rain, let's do it together. Do you still hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Hold.
Let's add up.
We're gonna add up rain. Hold on a second. All right. Hold on. All right. We're gonna add up rain. The letters of rain.
I love it. You get excited for the math. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is math. All right. So hold on a second. Let's see. We're gonna add up. Rain. All right. I'll put to everybody. I'm gonna put this in chat. Here's the. All right. R. We're gonna all caps. R is 52. Okay.
No, what are you doing?
All right. R is 52. A. Hold on. A is 41. 41. I is
That's you.
49. I'm doing it in decimal, not hex. I mean, I prefer hex, but you probably don't. And then N. Wait. Oh, did I do it wrong? I'm going to start over. I might have done it wrong. Yeah, I did. R.
Yeah.
R is not 52. It's 52 in hex. It's 82. I know people
What?
are like, what are you talking about? All right. A is 65.
What letter is it in the alphabet?
I is 73. Hold on.
What letter
And then
R in the
N
alphabet,
is 78. So 78. All right, hold on. All right, I get 298 for rain. Now that's of course all caps, not lowercase. So
listen up. You're Batman. I'm the Joker. You're not supposed to be funny right now.
298 is what I get when I add them up. Of course, I'm using ASCII, not EBCDIC. Should I use EBCDIC?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What letter?
Stringer News 1 says I need to use EBCDIC.
The alphabet.
I'm doing this in ASCII,
Lord.
of course. I write software. I do this in ASCII. I mean, we could do UTF-16, Unicode. It doesn't matter. The bottom 100, 0 to 127 are the same. So it doesn't matter.
Well, I wouldn't ask you to do ask or just key. I wouldn't ask you to do key because you figure out what this is all about.
No, I'm doing this in ASCII. ASCII, ASCII. So I get 298 is when I add up the word rain. So now what's next?
All right. Well, I'll just do it for you since
I already did it. You don't have to do it again.
you can't not play the fool. R is 18.
No.
A is 1.
I beg to differ. R is 82.
14.
R is
Where are you
82.
getting that? Where are you
ASCII.
getting that?
It's ASCII. It's in the computer that you're using. That your hand is holding the computer. In the computer that you're holding in your hand, if you type the letter R inside the computer, it stores an 82.
All right. Well, let's use English.
That is English. R, the letter, is 82 in ASCII. Now, as soon as you go to a number, you're not talking English anymore. You're talking about a number. I use ASCII. R is 82.
Oh my gosh! All right,
but now, but what about overflow? Because I got 298, and you're right. Algorithm noted that 298 won't fit in one byte. So do we do an overflow or do we move up to a 16-bit number?
I don't know.
If we're gonna do overflow, is this a signed or an unsigned 8-bit number? All this matters.
I don't like fish that won't be eaten.
Let's go. All right, fine. You're not answering. Let's go with hold on. Let's go with an unsigned 8-bit integer. So we subtract 255. 256 actually, and it gives us 42, which we know is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Rain is 42, is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Nailed it. Ryan, you are on fire tonight.
Now go look up the Arc of the Rainbow. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. Don't know how Arc of the Rainbow matches. What? He wants to do numerology. I do numerology with ASCII. Welcome, Limey Play.
Oh, what's going on? How are you?
The triggered Limey, if you're unfamiliar.
Yeah, it's got my old thing on there still. I don't use Zoom very often.
All right. The casual
Excuse
engineer
I was
wants me
smoking
to
a cigarette.
the casual engineer wants to remind me that E-Man gifted a bunch of memberships, and I should thank him. Thank you very much, Mr. E-Man, for all the gifted memberships, and certainly if you received a membership, thank him as well. So
I did, and I did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What are you drinking? Is that it's just a box of chicken soup?
Cranberry juice.
Right out of the box.
Lovely. It's lovely.
Can somebody send him a mug so he can put his cranberry juice in a mug?
I've got a mug, but I don't know. Why dirty a mug? I'm going to drink the whole thing anyway. My mug's about to have coffee in it. It's 7 o'clock here now, but
you know what you could do? Put coffee in the cranberry juice box.
No,
that would be.
Don't be mad, Michael.
But
clearly,
rinse it. Obviously, rinse it
talking
first.
To too many flat earthers, and it's affected your brain.
They have. Rinse it first.
Yes. I don't know. Yeah, I basically just came on here to, obviously, again, thank you for your videos because I enjoy them very much. And I also want to, wish everyone a happy humbug. And also, I am trying to, and I don't know if it's going to show very well on the YouTube, but for 2024, I would like to try to welcome people to the Church of Turtleson.
Hold on, let me get
our great and glorious Nathan. Peace be upon him.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good times. Where is that from?
I cut that out ages ago. I made it for some video, like way back when. But yeah, so I don't know. How are you doing?
I'm super.
Yeah, good.
I'm practicing for next week. It's 1 a.m. here. In 8 days, I will still have 3 hours to go.
For what?
The 12-hour marathon.
Oh my goodness. What are you going to do for 12 hours?
4 p.m. to 4 a.m. Well, I've got the first 2 hours is Mind of Steel.
Oh God. So I might come late then.
Do you know Raynard Wilson's work on the Mind of Steel?
Well, on your channel?
Yeah, I've mirrored a few of his videos, but he has his own channel now.
Oh, I didn't know he had his own channel.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's my favorite channel.
It is good, but I can only take so much of Steel. I don't know. It's the same as everything, isn't it? Like you can only watch so many flat earthers.
Well, he's mixing it up. He's bringing in a bunch of other people.
Oh, good. I'll check out his channel then.
Yes. So anyway, so there's a group of people that I put together when I first discovered Mark Steele. They're electrical engineers, people that worked on early, have actually worked on installing cell phone stuff. If you saw the video of Mark Steele going out on the street in 2020, where people are putting a point-to-point dish that are going to go up on a tower, and Mark's looking in the truck, and he's like, "That's a weapon. I know what that is. That's a weapon." And he says to the police, he goes, "Arrest them. I'm an expert. Arrest them." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" One of the guys in this group, I don't think he'll be there next week, but one of the guys in the group is like, "Oh, that guy's one of my employees." This is the group that I assembled to debunk Mark Steele, and these people just love laughing at Mark Steele. So
was Raynard the one that you sent undercover? into Mark
Yes.
Steele's collective? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That was
No,
fantastic.
I think, what was, I don't know. He interviewed Mark Steele 3 times. And all the stuff he got out of there. I mean, Mark thought he was, you know, revealing incredible stuff. So yeah, the full videos are on, I think,
Billy Bollocks, we'd call him over here. You know, he thought he was Billy Bollocks or the Mutts Nuts.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah. It's awesome. It's I don't know. It's every conspiracy nut, flat earther, sovereign citizen, like it's all, you know, they're all in that same little area of the Dunning-Kruger, aren't they?
They are.
It's fantastic. Flatsoid, I think, is already planning to win next year's Top Left.
Well, yeah, 2024, he's my guy.
Yeah, he's going above and beyond now.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Nobody can beat him.
No,
I mean, many have tried, but this year it will be Flatsoid.
Yeah, definitely.
So you know Caleb.
Yes.
Caleb, Crazy Eyes Caleb. So he's recently announced that he's a big fan of the Führer. If you know who I'm talking about. Big fan.
Must be one of DeBay's friends.
Big fan. Big fan. Loves him. Can't get enough. Talks about his speeches like he didn't say anything I disagree with. Like really, the annihilation. That annihilation word followed by who it is that he's talking. You don't see a problem with that? Okay. Anyway, today Caleb posted. This is brilliant. That he's recently discovered that he can become a national sovereign citizen, sovereign national.
Oh.
And so he's going to be doing this. And so I posted on Twitter. I'm like, this will be great, Caleb. You definitely should do this. I want to see you on video saying, I challenge jurisdiction, and then be put in handcuffs and then get free room and board in the concrete prison or concrete apartment building.
Yeah, he's gonna try to bridge the gap, I guess. Like I went and covered like the sovereign citizens, the Moors, and the First Amendment orders for a while because they're all the same, you know, mindset. But they're even more annoying than flat earthers, so I had to step away from them again. It's just it's ridiculous.
I love watching them in court. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's fun.
Right, when they're sitting in their car and the cop is like, I haven't heard this crap before, and they don't quite know what to do. That's fun. It's interesting. But when they're in court and the judge is like, that's not how it works. Like, we still haven't established jurisdiction. No, we did that before. Anyway, this is what's going to happen. Jurisdiction. No, we did that already. I covered that. I love that.
Yeah. Well, they need to get the most recent edition of is it Black's Law Dictionary that they use? I think they keep using
like
the second edition.
Caleb mentioned that. Yep.
Yeah. It's you know, picking ones that they think fits with their view, really, isn't it? So
yeah.
Instead of picking particular sentences out of context, they've just skipped all of the volumes after the second edition.
Yeah, but it's just a dictionary. It's not actually the law. They think it's the law.
That.
So Matthew Forrest says, I don't know if you remember Daryl Brooks from the Parade Massacre. And he claimed all the way through the trial. He represented himself.
I streamed his entire trial. And
the last time he was in court, he still challenged jurisdiction. It didn't change a thing. He's currently in prison saying, I challenge jurisdiction. Every day he wakes up in the morning, I challenge jurisdiction. Jurisdiction put you in prison.
Yeah, he won't ever get out, which is a good thing. But I don't know. That it kept the trial interesting, definitely, but that was I don't know if I could ever do that again. It was emotionally draining. It really was. You know, what he did is just terrible.
There is it's a little bit of a question mark. A guy that was a follower of Mark Braun. Mark
Who's
Braun.
Mark Braun again?
So Mark Braun is the earliest flat earther that's still on YouTube to my knowledge. So in March of 2020 or 2014, he started his flat earth stuff. Dubé started in December of 2014. Sargent was like February of 2015. Jaron shortly after that. So that there is the guy that's a comedian started in 2011, but he's a comedian. I don't think anybody actually thinks he's serious about being a flat earther.
No, he's probably having a laugh about it.
Matthew Boylan. So I don't think that he's an actual flat earther. So anyway, but Mark Braun is the guy that literally thinks he's Satan. He said in 2018 that they were all going to go to the North Pole.
Yeah, for the whole
and if they did the blood magic ceremony, they get to go with him. They can cross the frost bridge. The swords won't cut them. Then he has the spear of destiny. Everybody jumps into the lake of fire, and then they go to Hyperborea. That was his thing. Well, this kid in Canada was in on that. Has a bunch of videos of him talking about Mark Braun doing blood magic ceremonies, talking about quasi-luminous. Anyway, he killed somebody in his school.
Oh my God.
Been a few years. The trial was going to be, it just keeps getting delayed. It was going to be this month. It got delayed to July. So my guess is if that trial can be recorded on video, it will be nuts.
Yeah,
I think it will be nuts because
that's insane.
He probably is a flat earther. He probably will talk about, I'm guessing, Mark Braun, about how
government's covering everything up. And...
No, that's not Mark Braun. Mark Braun is like,
he
takes it all spiritual
when he's in the court, Mike.
I don't know.
Mark Braun doesn't do the whole, that it's the government hiding flat Earth.
Not so much.
Oh, interesting.
He doesn't get into that. That's not his angle.
Let's see. It shows just how dangerous these conspiracies are, though. Like, flat Earth might not seem that dangerous, but once you fall down one rabbit hole, it's really easy to fall down the others. And, when you look at the types of people that fall for these conspiracies, they are normally extremists. Most of the time, it seems to be kind of far right from what I've seen. But, either way, they always seem to be very extreme. The whole not trusting anyone. I think there was a thing. Oh God, I forget what state it was in, but a flat earther attacked. I think he stabbed some police officers or something. Got arrested. But yeah, they're nuts.
Well,
going back to Mark Sargent for 2 seconds, I've been working in between other stuff on a little video about you and Mark Sargent that I think you're going to love. Yeah. It's taking a really long time though, because I'm having to edit parts of it frame by frame, but it will be amazing once it's done.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sort of, I'll spoil it because it's almost Christmas. I'm trying to basically, how obviously you sent him all of these pictures and he just ignored them, even though he never
even looked.
Yeah, I'm going to try to portray that through a scene from The Matrix where Neo is dodging bullets, but I'm going to make it toonified, and have Mark Sargent in it. It's coming along quite interestingly. So yeah, it should be fun. It's going to take a long time though. It might be ready in January.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work. You get when you're having to do individual frames, you've got 30 frames per second, and it adds up. But yeah, it'll get there.
I did for Mark Steele. I took Grandpa Simpson and I used After Effects to give him sunglasses. But it wasn't very good because so he's got glasses, they're just circles and they're down his nose a little bit. But in cartoons, the circle doesn't go all the way around. There's gaps in it. And so After Effects sees that and is like, it spills out, so it doesn't know what to do, so it's misshapen all the time. So I did frame by frame in After Effects, tweaking the, I don't even know what it's, the mask. It's the mask, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be the mask. Yeah, probably.
for way too long.
Yeah, it takes ages. It takes ages. I've been trying to do, because I got lucky. A while ago now. One of my subscribers bought me the DaVinci Resolve editor's keyboard, and it came with the paid version of DaVinci Resolve, which is the software I was using. I was using the free version, and it's got magic mask, so you can have it and it will try to track through. The problem is with certain things, like obviously what I'm trying to do with the matrix thing, you get so many of the frames, the image is blurred, isn't it, because of how quick it's moving. And so that's where the sort of problems come in. So some of it you can get done pretty quick now, but yeah, there's always there's always going to be that individual rotoscoping and stuff every now and then.
Rotoscoping, that was the word.
Yeah.
Okay, Matthew 4 is, so there's apparently somebody, ooh, there it is. In September, so there he is. Douglas Haggerty stabbed somebody yelling about flat Earth.
Was it just a random person? I thought he stabbed some police officers or something,
Yeah,
but then my memory is terrible. It's been going downhill for quite a while.
Yeah, it seems to be the case.
There we go. Yeah, so it just goes to show, because I always thought, when you look at people like CC, and even more than him, Daniel Pratt, like they're ones I can see just snapping one day, especially Daniel, just.
Oh yeah.
And it's I don't know, it's insane.
Well, Pratt has said he has specifically called for people to pick up the things that send lead at high speeds,
the pew-pews,
and go to some people and make use of them.
Oh
yeah,
he's like actually directed
to
unalive certain people. In the Globe side?
It was about politics or religion or something. It wasn't but they all get tied together. So this was shortly after he moved from Washington. He lived near Seattle to, I think he's in Ohio now. And so
I'm glad he's out of Washington. My youngest sister lives there, but then the rest of my family in the States are in Michigan. So he's a bit too close for comfort there.
Yeah. Well, so I actually called the police in Washington, but he didn't live there at the time. So I did not know where he lived.
Well, it's the right thing to do, though.
This is an important thing. You got that, who specifically called for that. You've got this guy that stabbed a police officer. You've got Caleb, who has, through Flat Earth, gotten into being a fan of the Führer, and now is getting into sovereign citizen crap. So think about even if it doesn't turn violent, his family lost him. He's gone. He's not coming back. So somebody had sent me a picture that he took of a conversation with his mom in text messages. He posted it to his own Telegram account.
I'm assuming it didn't go well.
Well, yeah, she's not. He's like, someday I'm going to whatever, overthrow the Zionists is essentially what he's going to do. Like, how do you do that? Pew-pews. And
the sad thing too is, that these people, I mean, it's even sad, like the non-nutty ones, like any flat earther with kids, that's trying to homeschool them or tell them that their teachers are wrong. I mean, that's abuse in my eyes. But someone like Pratt, he's got two kids, I think, doesn't he? Have like two sons?
I think that's.
I know he's at least got the one, and I'm sure he's filling their heads with all this nonsense as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
It's,
Vlad, who I had on earlier,
mm,
talks to his daughter. Fortunately, his mom undoes what he does to his daughter.
oh, thank goodness. Yeah, I forget who it was. I did a video ages ago. This guy put a video up of he basically got his young daughter to recite this whole, flat earth presentation.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think it was wrong for him to put her up. Like, I blurred her out and disguised the voice because I don't think you should be putting kids
don't
that
put
young.
Kids, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, but also, yeah, like, she's I don't even think she was 10 and he's already warped her mind, I mean, I don't know. I like to think that the kids that are in school, most of the time, kids are smarter than flat earthers, and they're gonna
Doesn't
learn
take much.
Right, exactly. And as long as they pay attention in school and they learn a little bit of math, then then they should be fine, and maybe they'll even teach their parents where they're wrong, but I doubt it. I don't know.
So George M says Vlad is a Poe. He's not a Poe.
No.
I both today and last time he wanted to test stuff. He didn't want to come on and struggle with video and audio not working, and so we wanted to do a test like the day before. I'm like, you bet we can do that. So we did. And so like he's like had his daughter there, and so I was talking with his daughter, and he's telling her, and she was agreeing with him. And then today beforehand, I met so his wife, his 2 kids, and his mom were all there. Talked to them briefly. Like, he's not a Poe. He's totally legit.
Does it seem like his family's, the same way, or do they disagree with what he says?
He claimed that so he said his wife doesn't say anything about it, but that she's into all the conspiracy stuff, and that's how he concluded that she's a flat earther. She never says anything about it.
Yeah, but see, well,
so, here's a question. How do you know if somebody is doing CrossFit?
You see them doing CrossFit, or they tell you that they're doing CrossFit.
They tell you. How do you tell that somebody's a vegan?
Well, they obviously tell you.
They tell you they're a vegan. How do you know that somebody's a flat earther? They tell you they're a flat earther.
Tie their shoes. But yes, they tell you.
They ask you to help to pick the crayons out of their teeth.
Right. They ask you how Velcro works. Oh dear.
But certainly a wife would say yes. If her husband's a flat earther and she thinks the earth is flat, she'd be like, "Yep." No.
Yeah. I like Cece's wife, I think she's epic. It's fantastic. She needs to start her own YouTube channel. Eric Burns in the chat says being vegan is a big mistake. I like that. That's good.
Oh, another flat earther gone violent is Santos. So his
Didn't
channel
he just get his channel taken down.
Yeah, and I downloaded the video. And the handful of them, he had been for a couple weeks been doing stuff. I'm like, I don't know how his channel's still up. But I got the one that might have been the camel that broke the straw's back. He gave a list of people that he wanted to be. He started with specifically, the guy that owns Facebook. That guy on screen saying, I need somebody to, and fill in the blanks.
Pew him.
Somebody needs to do it. That's what he was saying. Like on YouTube, he did this, and I don't know how much after that went, because that was like, no, that's not just delete your channel. That's
That's get investigated by the authorities.
That's getting arrested, but he's in Mexico.
Oh.
So now he also not to open the video, but did specifically explicitly demand that people go do that to the Pope. A couple of Australian politicians, probably whoever's their president or prime minister, multiple former U.S. presidents, not the current one. I don't know why not the current one, but multiple former U.S. presidents, which are protected, to my knowledge, equally the same as the sitting president.
Yeah, I think like once you've been a president, you're protected for life, aren't you?
You are. My question, I think the answer is yes, but may not. Are threats to former presidents treated the same as threats to the current president? I think the answer is yes, but I can't say for sure.
I hope so. You know, I mean, to be honest, I think a threat to anyone, you know, even if it's Joe Public, should be treated just the same. You know?
No, but the Secret Service doesn't do that. In the United States, if you threaten the
Secret Service handles the president
on social media, you threaten the president, they will come take you in. So there was a concave earther that did that, got arrested, got released, did it to the next president, got arrested, and died in prison.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Died in prison. That sounds like a conspiracy.
Of course, the other concavers claim it's a conspiracy that he's still living.
Yeah. So. It's the same as the whole, you know, I mean, may they rest in peace, like, you know, Rob Skiba. And well, actually, I heard Flat Earth Fokker in the end wasn't COVID. I heard it was narcotic related.
I think it was. COVID.
I mean, he seemed ill in some of his videos, but Rob Skiba definitely. But then, you know, all of the conspiracy nuts were saying that, you know, they must have done something to him in the hospital, or they vaccinated him and that's what killed him, or you know, it's, I don't know, it's ridiculous. And again, you know, these people have kids and they're not getting their kids vaccinated. It just, I don't know.
Well, his kid took over his channel, Skiba's kid.
Oh God, how old's his kid then? He's got to be a grown up, isn't he?
Yeah, old enough.
Skiba was up there.
Yeah, his kid's weird, but as far as I know, his kid's a flatty. I basically trying to just live up, you know, take off his dad's legacy. So
yeah. That happens a lot. We've seen that happen with the First Amendment auditors as well. Like, you know, kids either take over a channel, like their dad's channel, or
while they're in prison,
start their own and separate. Well, while they're in prison, or if they passed away, or stuff like that.
While they're in prison,
a lot of challenging
jurisdiction. My dad's challenging jurisdiction in prison.
And they still continue to use these same arguments that got their, you know, their dad or other auditors arrested. It
truly is, and this is right. It took me a while to really settle that flat Earth is a religion. The physical shape of a physical object is a religious belief. I'm still not comfortable. Logically, but not emotionally. That First Amendment, not First Amendment, the sovereign citizens, they have a religion about how law works.
Yeah.
And no amount of facts can change that. So they just like what's his name who drove through the parade. He still demanded challenge jurisdiction. Like, it doesn't work. That's not it.
Yeah, because they don't know what they're talking about. You know, like they bring up like maritime law and all this other stuff. And I prefer to say cult instead of religion. I mean, you know, really, in a way, you know, a cult is just it's using a sort of religious basis in the most perverted way you can. And that's kind of what I see them as, you know. It's tragic, really.
Darren Frost says subsets and First Amendment auditors are not the same thing. Yeah, correct.
Well,
I
many
don't mean
First
to conflate
Amendment
them.
auditors are sovereign citizens,
Well, yeah,
and
the
you'll
Venn
find a lot
diagram.
of flat earthers are sovereign
The
citizens.
Venn
It's
diagram
all that same
overlaps.
wavelength. Yeah. It's the only difference, is because you've got your, I mean, I think they're all sovereign citizens in the way they act. And even Dave Murphy has done a lot of sovereign citizen talk on his videos.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just, one chose to go the way of we know the law better than law enforcement and lawyers and everyone else. And the others chose to say, oh, we know science and maths better, even though they don't know how to convert meters to kilometers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
how to solve for M in F equals MA.
Well, they get confused because to them letters are already assigned certain numbers, so it can't have like X can't be different based on any different equation. It's always got to be whatever gematria says or something.
Victor Kroot is the funniest when it comes to equations, because not only does he not get the letters, but he thinks that you can't reuse a letter for a different usage. So in F equals G M1 M2 over R squared, capital G, he found another equation that uses not just a lowercase g, capital G, and he's like, proof. What? Uses capital G? Capital G in your equation isn't the gravitational constant. He didn't even know how to say gravitational constant. It's this. Like,
I liked Iggy, who was just so sure that you needed to square the result of A squared plus B squared because it says C needs to be squared. It was great. I mean, clearly he's got no idea on how you balance sides out. And, if you want to find C, you want to take that squared away. And, how do you take a squared away? You square root it.
All right, hold on a second. Ernest Patriot may be a subset here, or something.
There's no such thing as a subset.
Subset adjacent.
Watch the ones that actually call themselves sovereign citizens, and then come back to me.
What?
He's saying there's no such thing as a subset. There are sovereign citizens that call themselves sovereign citizens.
Yeah.
There must be.
We use the term.
He's not a flat earther.
Yeah, we use the term as an umbrella term for people that act a certain way.
Yeah.
So you can say you're not a subset, but if you do the things that we mean when we say the word subset, then you are.
Yeah.
By our definition, you may choose a different definition for it. We don't care.
Right.
We do it to laugh at you. Anyways, is Ernest Patriot said, legal fiction, it is factual and states are corporations operating in commerce, not common law. That sounds to me like the same kind of BS that subsets say.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you, Ernest Patriot, does your birth certificate treat you as a corporation because your name is written in all caps? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, as if that's if that is the delineation.
Well, that's one of the things. What was it? Was oh god, like even Darrell Brooks said it, wasn't it?
Daryl Frost.
Darrell Brooks. I'm trying to think of how he said it.
The guy that from the parade thing. Yeah.
Yeah, from Waukesha. Yeah. How did he say it in court? It was like, because at first it was like through most of the trial it was I do not answer to that name, doing the whole corporation thing, and then he kind of screwed himself over.
Legal beneficiary
of his name.
The legal beneficiary of the estate.
That's it. Yeah, something like that. Oh, and yeah, have you seen the ones in court that say that there's, that every person in the States apparently has a secret savings account that the
Oh yeah, I've seen
government's
that.
keeping hidden from them, and apparently they're all worth billions, which is
I've heard that.
interesting.
Like how
Yeah.
where's this money?
Right.
Well,
Why would they put it in
Santos.
your name when they can just keep it in the government pool? I mean, there'd be no reason to, I don't know, unless idiots get some special rate of interest, and that's why they do it.
It's inversely proportional to your IQ. Santos said that when he got arrested in 2014 for $100,000 of something like that of unpaid toll road fees and other expenses.
How the hell do you get that up to 100 grand?
Penalties and fees and stuff.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
So
I guess.
he said that he did the same stuff. I'm not this. I'm this. You're spelling my name wrong. I'm the person, not the entity, or whatever. And then he goes outside the courthouse and he just starts yapping nonsense. And he said, there is a savings account with everything in it for you, and all of your utility bills have been paid with it. All of this have been right. All these things that basically, where did this money come from? Why would they pay your utility bills out of that? It makes no sense.
Yeah. Who started the account? Who initially put the money in, and why?
Yeah. So anyway, so then they released him on bail or something, and then he skipped the country and has never come back. So
so that's why he ended up in Mexico, because he just did a runner.
Yeah.
My God.
So yeah, I don't think he can ever go back, and I think the rest of Australia is happy for it.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I'm hoping that he can't come back to YouTube as well. That would be. I mean,
So he said,
it does take away that content.
He said, it's so funny. He said, I think it was on, I don't know where I saw it. So somebody had sent me something that he had mentioned where he said he's leaving YouTube.
Is he going to go to Rumble?
He's on Rumble, and YouTube will be broke in 2 months because he's left them.
Oh wow!
But somebody sent me his new channel. He's got a whole bunch of videos going, so I don't know.
What, on YouTube again?
Yeah.
Oh God. And that's against the rules, but they'll get away with it. I mean, look how many channels Daniel Pratt has gone through.
The YouTube doesn't care about that. Eric Burns says, does Mexico not have extradition? They do, but it's not free. So if they wanted to extradite him, the United States or whoever would need to be sufficiently motivated to get him out of Mexico and into their custody so that they could do whatever they. So the bar for that is pretty high.
Should we take bets on how long before Santos offends the wrong cartel? And
Well, and that's why I think he did not mention the current sitting president of the United States because he doesn't want them to come pick him up. He felt that he was safe enough to mention the former presidents, not the current, because that wouldn't maybe cross the threshold. So I can't say by any stretch that I've heard enough of him to actually say anything meaningful in this. So I'll just say what I have heard, he's not mentioned any entity in Mexico. So
well, I'm hoping to move back out to the States next year, and I might have to become a bounty hunter now, just to even if I only ever bring Santos in and then retire from bounty hunting, it would be worth it. And it would make for a great video too. I
mean, he issued that $10,000 challenge. To be clear, he did not specify how many winners. He did not specify how many photographs of the Earth.
I mean, if I recall, you technically completed that challenge with one of his own photos.
One of his own, a video. And a video
Yeah,
is a series of photos. So I did.
Yep.
So literally anybody in the world can point to any number of photographs of the globe or the earth, whatever it satisfied it, and all be beneficiaries to the estates of $10,000 multiplied by the number of photographs you can provide. So he could owe everybody in the world billions of dollars.
Yeah, we could start a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, of course he has no money, so a class action lawsuit is a automatic lose because you can never make any money back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And as Eric Burns says, the bounty hunt fee for Santos is probably 0 as well. So even that won't work. So,
and then you'd be subjected to listening to him.
Oh my God! Can you imagine having to do that flight
and smelling him and touching him, knowing what he's done to livestock?
I mean, I don't mind being the first bounty hunter to, spend all waking hours in a hazmat suit. It could just be my thing, I guess. It'd get hot in Mexico in a friggin'.
It does, yes. Go when it's not hot.
Yeah.
See, I think I've got. Let's see. Oh, there it is.
For all the people I've stumbled, goodbye, good riddance, fuck you, and I hope you never come back to my channel again.
Well, your wish has been granted.
You flat earthers are demented.
They're such lovely people, aren't they?
Yes, so lovely. To come back around to Caleb, I want to wrap this up. Caleb's text message with his mom that he posted on Telegram. Now, posting screenshots of a conversation with your mom on Telegram about rising up against the Zionists is a very strange thing to post. It's between you and your mom. Why would you? But think about this. Think about his mom, right? She didn't. Right or wrong, she loves him. I don't know. I feel sorry for the person on that side of it, but and she's lost him, right? He's not coming back. She's never going to have.
Definitely not one of the ones that will ever leave it.
Because and Flat Earth looks to me, could be wrong, but looks to me like it was the main introduction into this rabbit hole, and he's gotten for Führer favor and now sovereign citizen stuff that if he certainly will now say, I don't need to license my car, I don't need to get insurance,
don't need it registered, etc.
Get pulled over one time, play the script, wind up in prison, and that just is perpetuating, so she won't get him back.
No, that's it. I mean, they always call themselves truth seekers and tell people to do their own research. The only ones that are truth seekers are the ones that come back, like STST, Renty, Rachie. Have you seen how Rachie is treated now when she goes into the live chat of Flatsoid streams?
No,
it's grotesque. They are so out of line to her. Again, because she's left Flat Earth. Which I guess deep down they know that means she's smarter than them, and obviously they feel inadequate. So that's why, remember when you were young, and if you really, I don't know, if you liked someone or felt smaller than someone, either way, you were just mean, because that's the only way to handle it when you're young, or I was anyway. I was a bastard, but I think that's what it is. I think they know that she's smarter than them.
I was always the nicest kid.
I'm sure you were, Mike. Well, I mean, God, you're one of the nicest people I've ever met.
I got into my share of fights.
I feel like a better person just speaking to you, you know, which I don't know, it actually kind of makes me feel icky. I like being a bastard, to be fair. So, you know, it's part of my channel.
So, well, yeah, triggered limey. So yeah, Rachie. So I from what I saw when she was in, because she would come into our, but when she was a flatty, she'd come into our chat. I think people, for the most part, were pretty kind to her.
Yeah, you know, because she was never, you know, she wasn't like a Gary Wybenga or something. You know, she wasn't rude. You know, well, occasionally, I don't know. You know, I'm sure she called me an idiot once for something I said, you know, against Flat Earth. But you know, generally, she's a really nice person. You know, and yeah.
So to see, and so, you know, I don't know, maybe it'd be good to ask her, how did Globers treat her when she was a flatty, and how do flatties treat her now that she's a Glober, and what's that contrast? I hope, and please, people, dear viewers, make this the truth, that we're not the ones that mistreat people.
I mean, well,
Matthew Force
I'm
is
happy to mistreat Flatzoid, Oakley, you know, certain.
Yeah. So, all right, Matthew Force says we would bust her chops. We would bust her chops, and busting chops is fine. Challenging aggressively is perfectly fine. But don't.
You're saying that if I ever see Oakley in person, I shouldn't bottle him?
Let's not talk about that person. Let's use a better example.
It's hard to think of a better example.
There are, you know, I met with.
Well, there are plenty better than him. Yeah,
I met with Joe Hill. Effed Up
Who's
World.
He?
Effed Up World.
Oh right, yeah. He seemed like a pretty decent.
I have his cameras on the floor right there. I still have his P1000. It's been about a year. We had a great talk. I met a couple weeks ago with Nathan Erickson, who goes by Pitch Lumen. I was going to have a debate with him. I was going to have a debate with him last week. He has some school stuff. It didn't work out. Great talk. When I went in 2019 to the Flat Earth Global Convention in Dallas, there were a bunch of Flat Earthers that I had good talks to, including Fokker, Flat Earth Fokker. We had a great talk. And this, so I don't know. All right. You said it might have been something else. To my knowledge, it was that sickness going around that took him.
Yeah, because that's what I thought it was too. But then some other people mentioned that he was taking certain things.
Well, yeah, I think that I don't think that that's in question. So anyway,
I mean,
let me say this:
it's something that's probably best not speculated on, isn't it? You know, like we can't know for sure, without seeing the actual.
But I'll say this:
you know,
since March of 2020, this thing's been going around. Let's assume that it was that sickness that took Fokker.
Yeah.
There is one person that I've met in person, that I know in person, that I've like been in the same room with. So you don't count, right? Only one that died of it that I can recall. And it's him.
Yeah.
If it is, ironically, while denying that it even exists.
Yeah. I actually, you know, I don't know. Luckily, I don't know anyone that died from it, but I do know, you know, my cousin and her son both got it and ended up with long COVID, and they only started feeling better, you know, after literally after a couple of years. You know, it hit them really, really hard. It leaves some damage, doesn't it?
So let me read a couple things here. Cretan Bull says his sister said it was that sickness, unconfirmed. Let's see. Ernest Patriot says insurance is a forced association, and often it's not forced. You only optionally travel using your conveyance on public roads. You don't have to. It's not forced. You have the option to not do that.
So
hold
can
on,
I
let me
just
finish
quickly
reading.
interject with this, because the sovereign citizens like to use the whole right to travel. You do have a right to travel. You've got legs, and or some other way if your legs don't work. It doesn't mean you get to use a massive vehicle that can kill people without being able to prove that you've got insurance to cover it if you do hurt someone, license to show you know how to safely operate the thing, and etc. etc. So yeah, your right to travel.
Yeah,
you can walk.
Insurance is, he says it's for it. It's not. You have the privilege and the option of not purchasing a car and not bringing that car on the roads. That is so it's not forced. You do not have to get insurance. But if you are going to use a vehicle and you're going to use it on public roads, then there is a process to do that. It's optional to drive it or travel on the road. It's totally optional. But if you're going to choose that option, there's rules. Follow those rules.
Well, insurance is there to protect you as well, Ernest, and as well as anyone that you could get into an accident with again. So it is there to protect you also. You are Victoria in the chat said that Fokker's autopsy was released and it was an overdose, but why he OD'd was not answered.
See, we've got
there's a lot of conflicting information. So we'll have to try and track it down.
If the autopsy was released, then it would be public. So if it is public, who said that? Victoria? Send it to me.
Victoria.
Set MC2 at MC2.net. I would love to. I definitely want people to know the correct information.
Okay.
Like when
Bob, this is the Surrey Post.
When Bob died, Bob Nodell, there was a rumor going around that he was on his motorcycle and that he passed out.
Yeah, I heard that.
That was completely untrue.
Oh.
It was very likely. So he didn't go to the hospital. He refused to go to the hospital, but it was very likely complications from diabetes.
Oh. Okay, so I've just pulled up the Surrey Now Leader news website.
Yeah.
And BC COVID denier Mac Paha died from toxic drugs, not virus, says the coroner.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I'll shoot the link in the chat.
Well, now I don't know anybody that I met in person.
Nope. But I don't know. Did you ever interact online with Rob Skiba?
Yeah, briefly. Then he blocked me.
Of course he did. Because they're so for freedom of speech, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't like censorship.
Yeah, they don't like people that are smarter than them, which is sadly 99.9999999% of the world.
Let's see. Uncapped syringe, burnt spoon, glass pipe. Fentanyl.
Oh, he did have the virus when he died.
Fentanyl, cocaine, ethanol.
Wow. Yeah, fentanyl is definitely a killer. Well, yeah, apparently he did have the virus, but that wasn't what killed him.
Yeah. Wow. That's and ethanol. By the way, ethanol is what we call booze.
Yeah.
You ever hear people say like, "Oh, that gets me really drunk really fast," like as if different, not purities, percentages of it, but like it's got something else in it or some portion. Like, no, there's one active ingredient. It's ethanol. It's the quantity of ethanol you drink in a certain amount of time. That's it.
Yeah, it's how much is in it and how much you drink. That's why I think over here they go by like units. So it's like one shot or 1 pint or one glass of wine. And generally these things are measured in a way where you're getting about the same amount of alcohol, I think, or close to. Obviously, there's fluctuation, isn't there, a little bit? But
Chris Matt asks, did Nodell's autopsy get released? I don't know if there was an autopsy.
Yeah, not sure.
He did not like hospitals. He refused to go for a long time. So when shortly after he passed, there was one of Jaron has done this every 6 months, or every 3 months, convention, an online virtual summit thing. And so the first one after that, Cammy, his wife, I think, was in there, and then Amanda Vollmer, who's like a nutritionist, found out. So this was broadcast. Found out that he had complications from that, and was super pissed that he didn't go into the hospital, and like it became an issue during that like live event.
Oh,
So
do you ever hear? So I heard something, and I forget who it was, but there was, a member of the whole flat Earth thing who was being treated for cancer, and
Antonio
what
Sugarats.
the story was that Sleeping Warrior convinced him to stop getting, I think, chemo or something.
That's a story I've heard too, and I have no confirmation of it. So
yeah, I've got none either. But the sad thing is it's something that obviously we go by evidence, but without seeing the evidence, I could see it happening. Like whether it did or not, I'm not sure, but I could see Sleeping Warrior doing that, and I could see a flat earther being dumb enough to listen to him.
Yeah. Somebody's asking who's
Mercedes F1 fan.
Who's the bloke?
Says
on the
I'm a
right?
flat earther and also an astrophysicist. Debate me.
What?
Yeah, if you're an astrophysicist, you're not a flat earther.
Wait, where's this?
It's like 6
Mercedes F1 fan.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. That's great.
Okay,
it's not the 1st of April already, is it?
Astrophysicist Mercedes F1 fan. I would be happy to debate you. Email me, mc2.net. Let's get it set up. I don't believe for 1 second that you're both a flat earther and an astrophysicist. Sounds to me like a joke.
I think it has to be a joke.
Yeah.
Either that or he was an astrophysicist before the massive head trauma caused by being run over by a lorry, and then became a flat earther, maybe.
And for those in
maybe
America,
astrologist, Victoria.
For those in America, what's a lorry?
Semi. Yeah. Sorry, I forget to translate for the American viewers sometimes, or translate.
So yeah, Mercedes F1 fan doesn't have any flatter stuff on their channel, so I'm going.
I think he's probably just saying it for a laugh.
Yeah. The live chat is it's the wrong live chat. Let me update that.
The wrong live chat.
Well, so it's not the current live chat. So OBS takes a screenshot, basically, like has the pixels in the buffer of the last time that it was on, and so if it's pointing to a window that doesn't exist anymore, it'll just put that up and not update it.
Oh, right.
Emerson Biggins says, I'm an NBA forward and a thoroughbred jockey. Debate me. Sounds about as legit as a Mercedes F1 fan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I became a flat earther on my way back from the moon, actually. I knew those windows were clearly lying to me, and they must have pumped, I don't know, some hallucinogenic through the capsule.
You probably, what you should have done is you should have left the screen shut and just opened the window, and then because that'll keep the space out.
I'd like to know how we got through the dome. I still can't work that one out.
They on Facebook, somebody's like, they can't get through the Van Allen belts. Like, They can't figure it out. Like, no, you have no understanding of simple stuff.
Yeah. No, they can't think in 3D, which is a massive problem for them. You know, like because I don't know. I think they get really confused with the sun and the moon, don't they?
Oh yeah. Well, here's what they do, and you see this a lot. They find some pop science description of something, 1 or 2 sentences, and they think that's all there is to know on the topic. So when they see a 2-sentence thing of somebody talking about bringing the new Artemis stuff through the Van Allen belts and, you know, certifying, there's a process to certify it for human travel that didn't exist in 1969. It exists now. You have to certify things before you can, do it. And so they're talking about that, and they're like, oh, well, they just admitted that they never went through. Like, no, they just admitted that this has not been tested yet. They don't get that. And because they want to believe something so bad, and because they were told by someone multiple times, multiple people, it's cemented in their heads and they won't release it.
Well, it's like the whole, like flight training, flight manuals and stuff, where it says just like treating the earth as like flat and non-rotating or whatever. That's because it's going to be different depending on where you are, flying in the world and what direction you're going. So for the purposes of training, you're ignoring that, at that point. That's the only reason that those manuals say that. Because then that's something that you'd account for later, wouldn't it? Once you know your actual flight path and things like that.
Yeah, it changes based on where you are.
Right,
But for the most part, they actually the systems are automatically deal with it, so you don't actually have to
exactly. All they really have to do is maintain heading, maintain their altitude, or they can put the autopilot on as well, and that does all that, too. They don't have to constantly dip the nose down. I actually did a live stream the other day, to try and show, because I had all the numbers down. I can't remember, but it was, I think I've still got them written actually. So you got, like, say the average Boeing 747, I think, flies around an cruising altitude of like 10,700. Was it 10,700 feet?
35
meters?
35,000 feet.
Yeah, it's like 10,700 meters. So what I did, and I'm not great at maths either, but I took the radius of the Earth, added their altitude, then worked out what that circumference would be, and then I calculated it so that the length of the Boeing 747 is about 71 meters. So I said that if 71 meters equates to 1 pixel, then this would be how many pixels that circumference of the flight path would be. And, that way I could visually show them just, how flat it all looks and why you would never feel them dipping the nose down. Plus, obviously, they're constantly making micro changes all the time, etc., etc. But it's, I don't know, it's the same thing as, when you're looking at the horizon, they're like, well, it looks flat. That's because you look at the horizon. If you're looking at the sea, you're basically looking at 2-3 foot of hump in miles. You're not going to notice that.
It's their basic misunderstanding of how it works at all, because they think that you're going to go straight. Right?
But you're not, because you're following altitude.
They think that you're going to go straight, that then because they don't understand how flight works.
Right.
That you would lose lift as you did that, and the vector of down changes. They don't get any of that. They just think you'll just keep going. They think you would literally just keep going until you decided to change, without understanding that lift would drop off as you got higher, because you'd be higher in elevation. They don't get that.
Yeah.
This type of physics, and I talked to Vlad, the previous one. I not in a mocking way, but I'm like, look, I know that you did not take physics in high school. It's optional.
Or just didn't pay attention.
No, he didn't. So in the United States, we go through K through 12, so it's 13 years. So during your 12th year is about when you turn 18. And
Mhm.
that in Minnesota and in many states, you do not have to take science that final year.
Oh, okay.
And the standard science class that you take, at least in Minnesota, is physics. So
Hmm.
it's basically a subset, right? Because up until 11th grade, you have to take science. So it's typically biology and chemistry,
And physics.
It's a general science, then
Oh, okay.
biology, then chemistry, then physics your 4th year. But then they're like, oh, I don't need to take it. I'll take study hall instead, or whatever. They take something else. So I took physics. I still have my notes. So my teacher, the teacher let us all have a single 3x5 note card for the test.
Oh,
Right. And so I actually, so let's see, this one here. So I sat right next to the girl that was the valedictorian, right? Good friend of mine. And this was the only class that I ever had with her. And she sat right next to me because she was in all of her classes were the upper level classes. And I took regular, I mean, I don't need those, right? But I took advanced math in it and then kept going with science. So she would sit there and pound out the notes, the whole class, just the whole time. And I had my 3x5 card, and he'd be like, oh, one note every other day. That was the notes I took. and she's got this notes, and then the day before the test, she would, as much as possible, transcribe
try to squeeze
her
it on a card.
and yeah, she shows up with a 3x5 card, and it's just lines. It's tiny writing, as small as can be, over and over and over. And
Makes me think of Rimmer in Red Dwarf when he put all the notes on his arms and legs and stuff.
So
yeah,
I got a better grade than her. A better percentage. I got like 103% because you could do extra credit in the test.
Okay.
The tests had extra credit.
Nice.
Anyway, that was it. That was my class, and I still have some of the notes.
Yeah, we had to do physics, biology, and chemistry until 16, and it was like your last 2 years of school. If you stayed, you could choose. I had to take Latin right through to 16 as well.
Latin,
which was I did French, German, and Latin.
Wow.
And then I did French up until 14, and then German and Latin. I wanted to do French and Latin because they work really well with English, but the French class got full, when people were allowed to pick. And then I wasn't allowed to stay at school till I was 18 because I was a bit of a troublemaker. I didn't do great in school. I was like a mostly C grade student.
They gave you the boot, huh?
Yeah, but I went to college instead at 16, and then and then I went on to do computer programming in college.
So all right, so college at 16.
Because I grew up a bit, I enjoyed it and became a straight A student. So I never got my degree though.
What's college at 16 in the UK for Americans?
Well, you can do computers or whatever. I did plumbing because I was working as a plumber at the weekends and making bank.
What is college like in the UK at age 16?
Oh, it's like a grown-up school that you go to, basically. I mean, it wasn't, because mine was like the local community college, so it's not like where you go off to stay there or anything like that.
Is it like a trade school? Sometimes
no, it's like it's almost like your regular school, or like a less than a university, but you've got the computer department, you've got your maths, your science, you do have your trades and stuff like that. And
I see Spin says hot girls everywhere.
No, actually, well, so like in school, the girls' school was across the road, so we only got to see them like before and after school and on lunch breaks. They kept us separate. But yeah, college, yeah, hot girls everywhere. Yep.
All right. Busload UK, who I don't know if I've seen Busload before. I like that name. Says, I stand with you against the Flurman and their agenda of disinformation. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. It's all right. In 8 days, I will be beginning my final stretch. But tonight,
the
I'm
last
not,
hour, right? And are you Eastern Standard Time?
I'm Central, so
wow!
I'll have
So
2 hours
2 hours,
remaining. Yeah, so I will not be doing that tonight. Instead, I will be wrapping this stream here.
Yeah, it's 8:10. I've been up for a few hours. I need to make coffee and get some work done.
There you go. Make sure you put the coffee in the box.
I'm not putting the coffee in the box. My juice box is empty.
Rinse it out.
It was nice.
Put some coffee in it. Send us a picture of you just drinking the coffee.
I've got my giant mug. That's what the coffee goes in, because it's basically like 2 cups of coffee at a time, which I need. So,
this is my coffee mug.
Yeah, that's too small.
All right. Well,
thanks for having me on. I'm going to
yeah.
jump off so you can wrap up. Happy holidays. I'm sure. When are you doing the 12-hour stream?
8 days from now.
8 days from now. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I'll jump in the live chat and stuff for some of that.
If you are around at midnight your time, I'm probably going to do a 2-hour segment of just debunkers. So that'll be you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be up.
All right.
Interesting. All right. Thanks for having me on.
All right. We'll see you.
Catch you later.
All right, people. It's been great. It went a long time. This stream will delist itself. But it'll just be unlisted. It won't be privated. So you can still view it. I may or may not list it, but feel free to share it if people want. I want people there. I do that for a reason, and I do it so that YouTube promotes the debate, which is the important one. So yeah. All right. So that is interesting about Flat Earth Fokker, that it was not COVID. So good to know. Thank you, Victoria, for setting that straight. It did say that he had COVID, but it wasn't the cause. So little yawn there. All right, people, thank you very much for coming along. I look forward to next week, the 12-hour marathon. Stringer News 1 says, curse Titicaca, it's tomorrow. It is. It's 2 a.m. here. And I think, if I'm right, you are West Coast, so it's just past midnight for you. So, people, thank you very much. We'll see you next time.